Chapter 1039. Senior Jiuyang didn't give me many origin stones now, and there's only around 500,000 left. Moreover, I haven't sorted out the storage rings I obtained from the enemies I killed during this period of time. I'll sort them out when I have the time. Hopefully I'll gain something. Lu Ming wanted to store up some origin stones now, because he would definitely need a huge amount of them when he broke through to the domain enlightened spirit God realm. With a command in his heart, Lu Ming left the mountain river diagram and continued flying towards the depths of the herb garden. Lu Ming was much more confident now that his cultivation had improved, and he was extremely swift as he flew all along the way. It wasn't long before he'd flown an entire 50,000 kilometers and arrived at the depths of the herb garden. Because even though the area of the herb garden was extremely large, it was only a few tens of thousands of kilometers. All along the way, Dandan obtained a huge amount of spirit herbs. Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed. He did not know how far ahead there was a green glow emanating from it. Lu Ming, there's definitely a rare spirit herb there. Let's go. Dandan's eyes glowed as he cried out excitedly, "Don't be impatient. If there's really a rare spirit herb there and it emanates such a glow, then it'll definitely draw some experts over. It won't be so easy to obtain it," Lu Ming said. However, he was still curious, and he flew towards the direction the glow effused out from. After 5,000 kilometers, he saw a large mountain, and the glow vanished when he arrived here. Why isn't there anyone here? Lu Ming's gaze flashed because this was different from what he'd imagined. Since the glow is emanating and can be seen from 5,000 kilometers away, then why isn't there anyone here? Is it very strange? What a dense medicinal fragrance! Lu Ming's nose twitched as he looked towards the mountain range ahead, whereas Dandan's eyes glowed brightly. Lu Ming flew over and noticed that there was a wide valley in the middle of the mountain range, and numerous trees that were over 10 m tall grew within the valley. However, the strange thing was that these trees were completely bare. There was not a single leaf on them. Even the branches seemed to have withered. However, at the top of each tree there was a fruit growing. A rich fragrance was emitted from the fruit. It was a rich fragrance. Each tree only had one fruit. It was as if all the energy essence of the tree had been used to nurture this fruit. This is the soul refining fruit. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly widened, bursting with blazing flames. His heart began to burn with passion. It was actually the soul refining fruit. Lu Ming felt his breathing become heavy. The spirit refining fruit was a spirit fruit that was even more precious than the vermilion heaven fruit. In a sense, it was many times more precious. This was because the soul-refining fruit could condense a spirit divinity. Yes, when a domain enlightened spirit God consumed it, it could condense the domain enlightened spirit God and cause the domain enlightened spirit God to become even more material. Actually, on the one hand, the domain enlightened spirit God realm had to comprehend the concept of the heavens and the earth, and on the other hand, it was the process of condensing the domain enlightened spirit God. The soul refinement fruit was extremely tempting to domain enlightened spirit gods. However, to martial arts practitioners of the spirit embryo realm, the temptation was even greater. This was because when a martial arts practitioner with a perfected spirit embryo ate the spirit refining fruit, the medicinal energy would seep into their spirit embryo. The moment they broke through to the spirit god realm, their spirit god would break out of the embryo and become even more corporeal. To break through to the spirit god realm, one had to go through the heavenly tribulation. The more corporeal the spirit god was, the higher the chances of passing the heavenly tribulation. To martial arts practitioners with a perfected spirit embryo, this was simply a supreme treasure. It was no wonder that Lu Ming was so excited when he saw it. There were over 100 soul refinement fruit trees in the valley below, which also meant that there were over 100 soul refinement fruits. If news of this spread out, all the martial arts practitioners with a perfected spirit embryo would go crazy. Haha, Lu Ming! There's so many soul refinement fruits. You've struck it rich. Dandin grinned, extremely excited. Why isn't anyone here? Lu Ming didn't completely lose his mind because of the soul refinement fruit. The light just now was so dazzling, so why wasn't there anyone here? Could it be that he was the first to arrive? I don't care. Lu Ming decided to pluck the soul refinement fruit first. Brother Lu, wait a moment. At this moment, a familiar voice sounded. Jing Kongling. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he recognized Jing Kongling's voice. On a mountain peak below, there was a sudden ripple and two figures appeared. Two beautiful women, Sandalwood Fairy Mu, Sandalwood, and Jing Kongling. Just now, the ripple was clearly a formation set up by Sandalwood Fairy. Lu Ming didn't expect to meet the two of them here. Brother Lu, come down for a chat. Jing Kongling spoke, still transmitting her voice to Lu Ming, as though she was afraid that others would hear. Lu Ming flew down and entered the formation. Only then did he realize that Sandalwood Fairy had set up an illusory formation here. Fairy, Miss Kongling, what's going on? Lu Ming asked. From the looks of it, Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling should have arrived long ago. But why didn't they pluck the soul refinement fruit? Instead, they hid on this mountain peak and used the formation to conceal themselves. There are a lot of blood ghost spiders on the soul refinement fruit tree. There are even blood ghost spiders of the spirit god realm. Those who entered before all died. Sandalwood Fairy explained. What, blood ghost spiders? Lu Ming was shocked. That's right. You must have come here because you saw the light. Cold Blood Hall deliberately used spiritual herbs to lure you here. They wanted to lure others into the valley to help them deal with the blood ghost spiders. I discovered it early, so I hid here and waited for an opportunity. After Sandalwood Fairy's explanation, Lu Ming suddenly understood. Cold Blood Hall must have discovered the soul refinement fruit first. But they couldn't deal with the powerful blood ghost spiders themselves, so they wanted to lure others to help them deal with the blood ghost spiders so that they could reap the benefits. Sandalwood Fairy discovered this secret and secretly set up a formation to hide here. She was also the one who stopped Jing Kongling. Several groups of people had already died inside. Cold Blood Hall just went out to lure others. I think they'll be back in a while, Sandalwood Fairy said. As soon as Sandalwood Fairy's voice fell, the three of them looked to the north. There, 3 streaks of blood-red light flew rapidly, landed on a mountain peak, and disappeared. 3 spiritual gods. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The 3 people from Cold Blood Hall were all spiritual gods. Lu Ming had seen 2 of them before. One was the bearded man, and the other was the injured Cold Blood Hall expert that Lu Ming, Chu Kuang, and Zhang Wenjing had met when they went to Pillar of Heaven's Mountain. The 3 Cold Blood Hall experts hid in a mountain peak and concealed their auras. Soon, another light flashed, and 6 figures flew over rapidly. Among the 6 figures, there were white-haired elders and middle-aged men, but their auras were extremely strong. The weakest was at the 9th level of the spirit embryo realm, and there were even some who had perfected their spirit embryo realm. I clearly saw a light flash in this direction. Why did it disappear? An elder whispered, That's soul refinement fruit. Suddenly, one of them exclaimed. The others also looked at the valley, their eyes burning with desire. It's soul refinement fruit. It's really soul refinement fruit. There are so many of them. Chapter 1040. The 6 of them looked at each other. Suddenly, the 6 of them moved. They attacked together and madly rushed towards the valley. Ha! The soul refining fruit is mine. A burly man laughed and grabbed at one of the soul refining fruits. Whoosh! Suddenly, a dark red light flashed from the tree and pounced toward the burly man. What, a blood ghost spider? The burly man was shocked and used all his strength to slash at the blood ghost spider. Bam! The blood ghost spider was split in half. But in the next moment, dozens of blood ghost spiders pounced on the burly man as if they had poked a hornet's nest. Some of them were extremely powerful. Not only him, but the other 5 were also attacked by the blood ghost spiders. Damn it! The 6 of them roared and used all their strength to fight the blood ghost spiders. Puff! Puff! In the blink of an eye, dozens of blood ghost spiders died at their hands. However, one of the elders at the 9th level of Spirit Embryo Realm screamed as a blood ghost spider pierced his forehead. Then, countless blood ghost spiders crawled onto his body. In an instant, the elder was dead. Retreat! The others turned pale with fright and wanted to retreat. Whoosh! Suddenly, a violent sound broke the air, and a dark red light flashed rapidly. Puff! 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 The 5 experts were all killed in an instant. A spirit god realm blood ghost spider. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He clearly saw that it was a blood ghost spider that was the size of a fist and had an extremely powerful aura. The 6 experts were all killed in an instant and were devoured by the blood ghost spiders. The valley calmed down again. The blood ghost spiders climbed up the soul, refining trees again, and seemed to have become one with them. From afar, it was impossible to see the blood ghost spiders. 3 experts from Cold Blood Hall appeared in the air. What trash! One of them shouted coldly, "This won't do. We can't exhaust much of the blood ghost spider's strength. There are 3 spirit god realm blood ghost spiders here. We need to be at the spirit god realm to exhaust their strength." The burly man with the beard said, "Then let's attract the spirit god realm martial artists here." After making up his mind, a spirit herb appeared in the big bearded man's hand. Suddenly, a green light filled the air and shot into the sky. That's green cloud grass, a level 9 spiritual herb. Lu Ming was shocked. The spiritual grass in the big bearded man's hand was actually a rank 9 spiritual grass. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a fiery light. If he had this level 9 spiritual grass, perhaps his physical body could break through to level 9. The 3 men from Cold Blood Hall flew south this time, but they soon returned and hurriedly hid in the mountains. Not long after, 2 beams of light came from the south at a terrifying speed. Their terrifying auras were extremely powerful. 2 eagles. Lu Ming saw that they were clearly 2 eagle-shaped, demonic beasts. "It's an expert from the Heavenly Eagle Castle," Sandalwood whispered. The 2 eagles were obviously spiritual god-level existences. Their auras were as heavy as a mountain, and their eyes were as sharp as lightning as they scanned the surroundings. When they saw the soul refining fruit in the valley, they immediately burst out with a fiery light. Haha, the soul refining fruit. It's the soul refining fruit. What a great opportunity. A giant purple eagle laughed loudly. Let's share it equally. A giant blue eagle also said. Okay, the giant purple eagle nodded. Then the 2 eagles rushed directly into the valley. As soon as they rushed into the valley, a dense swarm of blood ghost spiders rushed toward them. Blood ghost spiders die. The giant blue eagle opened its mouth and spat out a blue light. Wherever the light passed, the temperature dropped sharply and the blood ghost spiders were frozen into blocks of ice. Sizzle, the giant purple eagle flapped its wings and endless purple lightning spread out. The blood ghost spiders were swept by the lightning and instantly turned into ashes. Ordinary blood ghost spiders could not stop the 2 giant eagles at all. In an instant, thousands of them were killed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, 3 beams of light flashed and attacked the 2 giant eagles. Oh no, it's a spiritual god-level blood ghost spider. The giant purple eagle roared and flapped its wings. The terrifying lightning turned into 3 lightning spears and stabbed at the 3 blood ghost spiders. At the same time, the giant blue eagle also launched a terrifying attack. A blue ice river wrapped around the 3 blood ghost spiders, trying to freeze them. However, the 3 blood ghost spiders were extremely powerful. They broke through the lightning and ice river and attacked the two giant eagles. The two giant eagles roared and fought with all their strength. Boom! Boom! After a series of collisions, the two giant eagles and the three blood ghost spiders charged into the sky. The battle in the sky was extremely intense. The two giant eagles and three blood ghost spiders should be at the first tier of Class 8, which was equivalent to a first-tier spiritual god. Their combat strength was almost the same, but the two giant eagles had fewer people and were at a disadvantage. After thousands of blood ghost spiders were killed, the three Class 8 blood ghost spiders seemed to be in a frenzy. They entangled the two giant eagles and fought fiercely. After dozens of moves, the giant purple eagle was scratched by the claws of a blood ghost spider. Immediately, blood flowed and feathers flew. Damn it! The giant purple eagle went crazy. The divine beast blood in its body was boiling. Its body seemed to have turned into lightning. It reached out with its claws and almost scratched through a blood ghost spider. Although the blood ghost spider dodged in the end, it still left a wound. Green liquid flowed out. Go first! The giant purple eagle roared and wanted to break out of the encirclement. However, the three blood ghost spiders entangled them tightly. They couldn't break out at all. The battle became more and more intense. In the end, a blood ghost spider seized the opportunity and attacked the giant purple eagle's abdomen. The blood ghost spider crawled into the giant purple eagle's body. Ah! The giant purple eagle screamed crazily, as if it was in endless pain. It struggled madly in the air. If we die together. Finally, the purple eagle let out a loud roar. The sky was filled with lightning, and its body swelled rapidly. Then, with a loud bang, it exploded. Even the other two blood ghost spiders and the blue eagle were sent flying by the terrifying energy. In the sky filled with lightning, a blood ghost spider could be seen in the air. However, it was lifeless and had turned into a pile of charcoal. The blood ghost spider that had rushed into the giant purple eagle's body was also killed by the lightning when the giant purple eagle self-detonated. Mutual destruction. Squeak! The remaining two blood ghost spiders seemed to be extremely angry. They screamed and pounced on the giant blue eagle. The giant blue eagle roared and tried its best to escape, but it was useless. It was tightly entangled by the two blood ghost spiders. In the end, one of the blood ghost spiders was seriously injured by the giant blue eagle. However, the giant blue eagle was also killed by the two blood ghost spiders. Two LV-8 giant eagles died just like that. Of course, the blood ghost spiders also paid a heavy price. Haha, good. With a loud laugh, three cold blood hall experts appeared and pounced on the two blood ghost spiders. They weren't confident when there were only three blood ghost spiders. Now they could finally attack. Chapter 1041. It was much easier for the three of them to fight the two injured blood ghost spiders. The two blood ghost spiders were completely suppressed and in imminent danger. This is a good chance. We can take the spirit-refining fruits. Sandalwood Fairy's eyes lit up. There shouldn't be any other blood ghost spiders in the spiritual god realm, right? Lu Ming asked. No, I'm very sensitive to the aura of living creatures. I'm not wrong. Sandalwood Fairy nodded. Okay, let's take the spirit-refining fruits and break out of the encirclement. Lu Ming said. The three of them had to work together to have a chance. Otherwise, the three experts from Cold Blood Hall would definitely attack them. If they did not work together, they would not be able to escape. Their figures moved, and the three of them rushed down the valley at the same time. Their figures were as fast as lightning. Complete spirit embryo. Lu Ming found that Jing Kongling's aura was much stronger than before. It was clear that he had reached the complete spirit embryo. Obviously, Jing Kongling had refined the vermilion fruit and made a breakthrough in his cultivation. The three experts from Cold Blood Hall noticed them as soon as they took action. Sandalwood Fairy, Jing Kongling, and Lu Shaoqing. Damn you, Junior, Don't even think about it." The bearded man roared. The three experts from Cold Blood Hall were shocked by the three's actions. They had never thought that there would be three top experts of the younger generation lying in ambush here, waiting for an opportunity to attack. "Quick, quick!" Lu Ming's vital essence burst forth. His vital essence was like a ribbon rolling forward. A few mind-refining fruits landed in his hands, and he put them away. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling were also very fast. Their vital essence swept out, and the fruits fell into their hands. "Take them!" Without Lu Ming's command, Dandan had already rushed forward and grabbed the spirit-refining fruits, stuffing them into his mouth. "Stop!" The bearded man's eyes turned red. He roared and rushed toward Lu Ming. There was also a blood-robed elder who rushed toward Jing Kongling and Sandalwood Fairy. As for the injured middle-aged man that Lu Ming, Chu Kuang, and Zhang Wenjing had met on the way, he was the strongest among the three of them. He was fighting two blood ghost spiders alone. At that moment, one of the blood ghost spiders was already severely injured and on the verge of death. Only the other blood ghost spider was still fighting the middle-aged man. Bang! The heavily injured blood ghost spider suddenly exploded, filling the sky with blood-red light. When the middle-aged man was hit by the blood-red light, his face paled, and in the next moment, a trace of green gas appeared. He had been poisoned. The remaining blood wraith spider screeched as it absorbed the bloody light in the sky. Its injuries quickly healed, and its combat strength increased greatly. For a moment, it was locked in a fierce battle with the middle-aged man. In the valley, Lu Ming immediately unleashed 4 streams of dragon force and punched with all his might. Boom! He exchanged a blow with the big bearded man. Both of them trembled and retreated. The bearded man's battle prowess was about the same as the bald man's, but Lu Ming did not use his full strength, so they were evenly matched. "Your cultivation—" Even so, the bearded man was still shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming's battle prowess to be so terrifying that he could actually fight with him. Roar! He transformed into a blood-red lion and pounced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's circulated prison, suppressing heavenly technique, and 5 colored concepts surrounded him as he fought with the blood-red lion. After exchanging a few blows, it was still a draw. On the other side, Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling were fighting the blood-robed elder. The blood-robed elder's battle prowess was slightly higher than the bearded man's, but Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling were also incomparably powerful. Jing Kongling's battle prowess had increased greatly after breaking through to the perfected spirit embryo realm. Even if he was alone, he could fight against weaker martial artists at the first level of spirit god realm. As for Sandalwood Fairy, although she mainly refined pills, her battle prowess was also not to be underestimated. Sandalwood Fairy's body glowed, emitting rays of colorful light that were very powerful. She was using her body to carve a formation. It was obvious that there was an extremely powerful formation in her body. Inscribers were biased towards one another. For example, some were biased towards refining pills, some were biased towards refining weapons, and some were biased towards refining talismans. But no matter which side they were biased towards, inscription formations were something that had to be studied and cultivated, because it was the foundation of an inscriber and also where one's battle prowess lay. Sandalwood Fairy's inscription formation was naturally extremely terrifying. The spiritual fire between her eyebrows jumped, forming a powerful spiritual storm. What a strong spiritual power! Sandalwood Fairy is absolutely perfect at every level. Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling teamed up to fight the blood-robed elder and had slight upper hand. For a moment, the 3 sides were in a stalemate, but no one stopped Dandan. He excitedly plucked the soul refining fruits. There were also some remaining blood ghost spiders, but they were not strong and were instantly killed by the formation carved by Dandan. The eyes of the 3 from Cold Blood Hall turned red when they saw the situation. They had put in so much effort and had yet to obtain a single soul refining fruit, but Lu Ming and the rest were about to pluck all of them. They were furious. "I don't care what kind of prodigies you are. You're all going to die today." The bearded, burly man roared and launched a frenzied attack on Lu Ming. Killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He wondered if he should use all his strength to kill the bearded man. In the end, he decided to give up. The bearded man alone might not spread the news, but if he used all his strength and revealed his 9 dragons' bloodline, it might be seen by others. Lu Ming bombarded the bearded, burly man with punches one after another. "Kill!" The middle-aged man who was fighting with the blood ghost spider roared as a pagoda appeared above his head. This pagoda was blood-red in color, and blood chi filled the sky. There were 5 golden chakras on the pagoda. The middle-aged man's bloodline was at divine level 5, which was higher than the bearded man and the blood-robed elder. His battle prowess was also higher. He transformed into a blood-red pagoda, emitting a terrifying aura that suppressed the blood ghost spiders. Boom! The pagoda shook and successfully suppressed the blood ghost spiders under it. The blood-red light flashed as if it was bombarding and refining the blood ghost spiders. At this time, Dandan was still crazily plucking the soul-refining fruits. Soon, more than 100 soul-refining fruits had been plucked by Dandan. "Let's go!" Dandan shouted. Now that he had finished plucking the soul-refining fruits, he was about to run out. "Go to hell!" The space shook and blood-red light flashed. The blood-red pagoda pressed down on Dandan. The blood ghost spiders had been severely injured by the pagoda. "Oh no!" Dandan was shocked. With a swoosh, she ran toward Lu Ming. "Fairy Miss Kongling, let's rush out together!" Lu Ming threw a few punches and then rushed toward Fairy Sandalwood and Jing Kongling. He planned to join them and rush out together. "Don't even think about it." The bearded man roared and chased after them. The blood-robed elder also chased after Fairy Sandalwood and Jing Kongling. The blood-red pagoda shook and pressed down on Lu Ming. "Go!" Lu Ming rushed to Fairy Sandalwood and Jing Kongling and threw a few punches. The blood-robed elder trembled and retreated slightly. Chapter 1042. His glabella glowed, and the mountain and river diagram flew out. It rapidly enlarged and lengthened, surrounding Lu Ming, Sandalwood Fairy, and Jing Kongling. At the same time, Lu Ming threw a dozen punches at the blood-colored pagoda. Jing Kongling shouted and waved his hands. 2 water dragons also rushed toward the blood-colored pagoda. Sandalwood Fairy waved her hand, and 9 elixirs flew toward the blood-colored pagoda. When they were halfway there, the 9 elixirs glowed, and inscriptions appeared on them. Then they exploded and turned into 9 battle swords, slashing toward the blood-colored pagoda, refining elixirs into weapons. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with amazement. Sandalwood Fairy's alchemy skills had really reached an unfathomable level. She could actually refine elixirs into weapons. A single elixir was a divine weapon, a great weapon with infinite power. Boom! 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 The 3 people's attacks collided with the blood-colored pagoda. They successfully blocked the blood-colored pagoda, but their attacks also collapsed. They only felt a powerful force surging toward them, and their bodies trembled slightly. The blood-colored pagoda's strength was much stronger than the bearded man's. "Go!" After blocking the blood-colored pagoda, the 3 people rushed out. But at this time, the bearded man and the blood-robed elder also attacked. Together with the blood-colored pagoda, they surrounded Lu Ming and the other 2 people. Lu Ming and the other 2 people couldn't rush out at all. They could only try their best to defend. Fortunately, with the protection of the mountain and river diagram, the 3 of them could reduce their defense and use more power to attack. Lu Ming and Jing Kongling fought against the blood-colored pagoda and the blood-robed elder. Sandalwood Fairy's body glowed and colorful light constantly flew out. It looked beautiful, but it was full of killing intent. At the same time, Sandalwood Fairy waved her hand, and elixirs flew out one after another, forming a wonderful array in the air. They burst out a terrifying attack toward the bearded man, showing Sandalwood Fairy's terrifying combat strength. But even so, the three of them were still at a disadvantage. The main reason was that the blood-colored pagoda was too powerful. Lu Ming's mind raced. He had no choice but to use his full strength. He was confident that if he used his full strength, he wouldn't be weaker than the blood-colored pagoda. Rumble. However, right at this moment, an earth-shattering rumble suddenly resounded between heaven and earth. The earth trembled and the sky exploded. Everyone saw dazzling lights suddenly explode in the sky like countless resplendent fireworks exploding together. The array exploded. What's going on? Sandalwood Fairy whispered. Lu Ming was also taken aback. He remembered that this herb garden was enveloped by a large formation. Previously, the Cold Blood Hall people had only broken a corner of it, but now it seemed that the entire formation had collapsed and the entire herb garden was about to reappear. Oh no, it's been taken by someone else. At this moment, a cry of surprise came from the blood-colored pagoda. What? Someone else took it, damn it! The bearded man and the blood-robed old man cried out in alarm. The two of them actually stopped attacking Lu Ming's group and flew backwards. Then they each took out a sound transmission jade talisman and looked at it. Their faces fell. Whoa! The blood-red pagoda shuddered and transformed back into the middle-aged man's appearance. That thing is more important. Let's go and capture the suspicious person with all our might. The middle-aged man shouted. Boy, you're lucky today. The bearded man glanced at Lu Ming's group unwillingly, and then the three Cold Blood Hall experts left without looking back. Lu Ming, Sandalwood Fairy, and Jing Conling looked at each other in dismay. Cold Blood Hall opened this ancient herb garden. It seems that there's something more important here, but it's been taken away by someone else. Lu Ming guessed. Obviously, the value of that treasure was far above the spirit-refining fruits. Therefore, the bearded man and the others had to leave Lu Ming's group behind and chase after that treasure, because they were not confident that they could take down Lu Ming's group in a short time. Let's go. Let's leave this herb garden first. Lu Ming said. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Conling nodded, and the three of them flew towards the west. After such a big commotion, there would definitely be more and more experts. This herb garden was not a place to stay for long, so it was better to leave first. There were no accidents along the way. The three of them flew hundreds of thousands of miles away from the herb garden before stopping. Dandan, take out all the spirit-refining fruits. The three of them stopped on a mountain peak, and Lu Ming looked at Dandan. What? I got them. Dandan turned his head away and did not look at Lu Ming. The spirit-refining fruits are very useful for perfected spiritual embryos or spiritual gods, but they're not as useful to you as other spiritual herbs. Isn't it a waste to give them to you? Take them out quickly. They're for Sandalwood Fairy and Miss Conling. Lu Ming said, staring at Dandan unkindly. This guy wanted to take them for himself again. In the end, under Lu Ming's threatening gaze, Dandan had no choice but to spit out more than 100 spirit-refining fruits. This was also because the spirit-refining fruits were not very useful to Dandan. Otherwise, he might not have been willing to hand them over. Sandalwood Fairy, Miss Conling, a total of 102 spirit-refining fruits. 34 for each of you. What do you think? Lu Ming divided the spirit-refining fruits into 3 portions and gave one each to Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Conling. This time, it was all thanks to Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Conling. Otherwise, Lu Ming would have rushed into the valley rashly and fallen into Cold Blood Hall's trap. He would have been doomed, not to mention getting the spirit-refining fruits in the end. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Conling did not stand on ceremony and took them one by one. The spirit-refining fruits were very useful to them. Although Sandalwood Fairy was not a martial artist, she could use the spirit-refining fruits to refine a kind of elixir, which would be very useful for her to break through to level 8. Brat, You're a guy who values women over friends. You only know how to use the spirit herbs I plucked to win the hearts of the beauties. I'm not convinced. Beauties, you must remember that I risked my life to pluck these soul-refining fruits, not this brat. Dandin began to shout unhappily. Then he looked at Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling with a pair of shifty eyes. Ha ha ha, Master Lu. Your spiritual pet is really strange. Sandalwood Fairy giggled and looked at Dandin curiously. Jing Kongling was the same. A spiritual pet, a little turtle, could inscribe inscriptions. It was really amazing. They had never seen any demonic beast that could inscribe inscription formations. Ha ha, beauties! I might as well tell you that I'm the head of the top 10 battle beasts. I'm unparalleled and invincible in the world. Wherever I go, the world is convinced. I think you too are not bad. How about this? I'll reluctantly accept you as my maids. What do you think? Dandin stood on Lu Ming's shoulder with 2 claws on his waist, looking invincible. Lu Ming wished he could slap this guy to death. Dandin's appearance made Sandalwood Fairy laugh. Even Jing Kongling, who had always been ethereal, showed a smile on his face. Master Lu, why don't you lend me your spiritual pet for a few days? Sandalwood Fairy smiled. Okay. Before Lu Ming could say anything, Dandin immediately nodded. She leaped into Sandalwood Fairy's arms, her claws grabbing Sandalwood Fairy's skirt. Beauty, how are you going to play with me? Chapter 1043. Lecherous Tortoise. Sandalwood Fairy's face flushed red, and she slapped Dandin away. By the side, a holy and ethereal woman like Jing Kongling blushed slightly. She and Sandalwood Fairy looked at Lu Ming with a strange expression. Lu Shaoqing, I didn't expect you to be such a person. You taught your spiritual pet to be like this. Sandalwood Fairy glared at Lu Ming fiercely. The veins on Lu Ming's face were throbbing, and he felt wronged. Dandin was not taught by him. She was a wily old fox to begin with. But Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling obviously thought that Dandin was Lu Ming's spiritual pet, and it looked young, so it must have been taught by Lu Ming. The spiritual pet was so wretched and lecherous. The master was probably the same. Lu Ming cursed Dandin hundreds of times in his heart. He was really speechless. His reputation was going to be ruined by this guy. Beauty, why did you hit me? You haven't told me how to play with me. Dandin ran over and shouted again. Get in. Lu Ming grabbed Dandin and threw it directly into the mountain and river diagram. Ahem, ladies, I'll take my leave now. See you again. Lu Ming was a little embarrassed. He coughed twice and cupped his fists. Where are you going, young Master Lu? Lu Ming looked really different from the tortoise, so Sandalwood Fairy asked in a low voice. I'm going to cultivate while going to the sacred city. Goodbye. After that, Lu Ming did not stay any longer. He turned into a rainbow light and soared into the sky. This Lu Shaoqing is more mysterious than I thought. Sandalwood Fairy's beautiful eyes flashed, and then she left with Jing Kongling. Following that, Lu Ming cultivated as he hurried on his way. His speed was not fast, and he would stop every now and then. Sometimes, when he gained something, he would stop and comprehend it. Right now, he was focusing on comprehending the will of heaven and earth. On the other hand, he'd found a place to refine the 30-plus soul refinement fruits as well. The energy of the soul refinement fruits had completely seeped into his spirit embryo. At that time, if he broke through to the domain enlightened spirit god realm and his spirit embryo broke through to the domain enlightened spirit god realm, then his domain enlightened spirit god would definitely be more material than an ordinary person, and his chances of overcoming the heavenly tribulation would be even greater. After 7 days of walking and stopping, Lu Ming had only traveled a few million miles. On this day, Lu Ming arrived at the territory of a sect called the Mystic Mist Sect. Compared to the entire central continent, this was a small sect. There were only a few spiritual gods in the sect, but it also had a teleportation formation. Lu Ming planned to take the teleportation formation of the Mystic Mist sect, cross the void, and head west. After all, the central continent was simply too vast. There were hundreds of regions in the eastern barren territory, but the central continent was 7 or 8 times larger than the eastern barren territory. He did not know how long it would take to fly to the sacred city. What happened? The teleportation formation of the Mystic Mist sect is controlled by a powerful force. No one is allowed to leave by it. What? Is that true? What kind of force is so overbearing? I heard that it's the Cold Blood Hall. They seem to be looking for someone and have sent out a large number of experts. I have something urgent to do. I have to go out. I can only go to other forces and have a look. Lu Ming walked into a big city near the Mystic Mist sect and heard the news. The Cold Blood Hall has blocked the teleportation formation of the Mystic Mist sect. Lu Ming frowned. He remembered that the bearded man and the others had said that something had been taken away in the ancient herb garden. Was the Cold Blood Hall still hunting for the robber? What on earth could make the Cold Blood Hall send out so many people? Lu Ming observed the vicinity of the Mystic Mist sect and saw many experts of the Cold Blood Hall. The next day, Lu Ming left the territory of the Mystic Mist sect and went to another force. The Divine Wind Ancient Country was an ancient country with several spiritual gods. There was also a teleportation formation in the capital of the Divine Wind Ancient Country. A few days later, Lu Ming arrived at the capital of the Divine Wind Ancient Country. He appeared in a restaurant. Damn it, the teleportation formation of the Divine Wind Ancient Country is also controlled by the Cold Blood Hall. We can't get out at all. It's said that the teleportation formations of more than a dozen forces in the surrounding area are all controlled by the Cold Blood Hall. No one can leave by teleportation formation. The Cold Blood Hall is so overbearing. Who asked them to be an overlord force? That's a force with an emperor overseeing it. There was a burst of discussion in the restaurant. Lu Ming frowned slightly. The teleportation formations of more than a dozen forces in the surrounding area were all controlled. There was no need to go to other forces. After eating and drinking, Lu Ming found an inn in the capital of the Divine Wind Imperial City to stay for the time being and observe the situation. In the following days, Lu Ming cultivated in the inn every day. Occasionally, he would go out to check the situation. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. However, the Cold Blood Hall still controlled the various teleportation formations. No one could leave by teleportation formation. Some people were anxious and had urgent matters to attend to. Therefore, many people had gathered together and decided not to use the teleportation formation, but to fly away. However, they had to cross a huge mountain range to the west. The mountain range spanned from north to south and was tens of millions of miles long. There were countless powerful, fierce beasts on the mountain range. Ordinary people would only be courting death if they flew over the mountain range. However, towards the west of the Divine Wind Ancient Country, there was a huge plain. It was as if the middle of the mountain range had been struck by a palm, and the mountain range had been pierced through, forming a plain. This plain was much safer than the mountain range, and had become a passage for many people to go west. However, there were many fierce beasts on the plain. Occasionally, powerful fierce beasts would sneak out from the mountain range on both sides. Therefore, for safety reasons, if they did not use the teleportation formation, they would gather a large group of people and travel together. There was already a group of people in the capital of the Divine Wind Imperial City. They planned to fly over the mountain range together. On this day, tens of thousands of people flew to the west of the Divine Wind Imperial City. Lu Ming was among them. He also planned to fly over the mountain range with the crowd. The group of people flew in a mighty manner. Soon, a vast mountain range appeared in front of them. The mountain range was extremely huge. It towered into the clouds and spanned from north to south. There were countless fierce beasts on it. However, there was a huge gap in the middle of the mountain range. It formed a plain that was tens of thousands of miles wide. It broke through the mountain range and led to the opposite side. According to legend, there was no such gap a long time ago. Later on, there was a battle between two emperors. The mountain range was broken by a palm strike from one of the emperors. That was how the plain was formed. Lu Ming had seen the emperors fight. They were so terrifying that they could definitely break through such a vast mountain range with a single palm strike. The group of people gathered together and flew toward the plain. The roars of various fierce beasts could be heard from time to time. Some of the roars tore through the clouds. It was extremely terrifying. Those were the roars of spiritual god fierce beasts. Let's get through this mountain range as soon as possible. If we attract spiritual god fierce beasts, we'll be in trouble. Someone shouted. The group sped up and flew forward. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, there was a bloody light in front of them. Blood chi filled the sky and blocked their way. What's going on? Someone shouted. Oh no, it's the experts from Cold Blood Hall. They're blocking our way. What? Did Cold Blood Hall also send experts here to block us? Damn it. Chapter 1044. Whoosh! Whoosh! Blood red light constantly flew out and floated in the air. In a few breaths, experts in blood-red robes appeared in all directions, staring coldly at Lu Ming and the others. They were all experts from Cold Blood Hall, some of whom had extremely terrifying auras. Experts. So many spiritual god experts. Just the number of spiritual god experts alone exceeds 20. Someone exclaimed. Cold Blood Hall had so many experts here. Several experts from Cold Blood Hall stood in the air. They were the leaders of the Cold Blood Hall experts. We have taken control of all the teleportation formations of the surrounding forces. The person who stole the treasure must be in a hurry to leave. This is his chance. He must be mixed in with this group of people. A white-haired elder said, That's right. It's dangerous to stay in the territory of Cold Blood Hall. He must be in a hurry to leave. We can't use the transmission formation, so we can only fly. There must be someone we're looking for among this group of people. Check every single one of them. A burly man said coldly. With that, he took a step forward, and a terrifying aura was released from his body, shrouding Lu Ming and nearly 10,000 people under his aura. Seniors from Cold Blood Hall, why are you stopping us? Someone asked loudly. That's right, we didn't offend anyone from Cold Blood Hall. Another person said, Cold Blood Hall is looking for someone among you, so we can only stop all of you. The burly man said, Is there someone you're looking for? What are their characteristics? Can we help? Someone asked, We don't know. We don't know what characteristics they have. We don't even know if they're a man or a woman. That's why we're stopping all of you. The burly man said. Everyone looked at each other. How were they going to find them if they didn't even know if they were a man or a woman? The burly man sneered and said, This man has taken a precious treasure from Cold Blood Hall. So it's simple. All you need to do is to hand over all your storage rings. What? You want us to hand over our storage rings? No way. Someone refused flatly. How could they get their storage rings back after handing them over? Moreover, which martial artist didn't have secrets? Many of them were in storage rings. Who would want to hand them over? You have to hand them over today. The burly man's eyes turned cold. Cold Blood Hall is too arrogant. You're not the only overlord in the central continent. Don't go too far. Someone said coldly. Really? The burly man's eyes suddenly turned cold, and a blood spear appeared in his hand. In the next moment, the blood spear tore through the void like a blood-colored lightning bolt, stabbing towards an old European. That old European turned pale with fright, and his aura surged as he frantically retreated. However, it was useless. The blood-colored spear pierced through and nailed old O to death on the plains. Hiss! Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. The aura that erupted from old O was incomparably terrifying. He was in existence at the first layer of spirit god, but he was still killed by the burly man's blood spear. It was truly terrifying. How dare you question Cold Blood Hall? You're courting death. The burly man said coldly. Many people kept quiet out of fear and broke out in cold sweat. The Cold Blood Hall was too overbearing. They could even kill a spiritual god on a whim. It was truly overbearing. This was an overlord power. The spiritual gods of some small forces were like ants in their eyes. They could kill them as they wished. If you don't hand over your storage ring, die. The burly man said coldly as he swept his gaze over the people closest to him. Yes, I'll hand it over. The faces of the people who were swept by the burly man changed drastically. They could only take off their storage rings and hand them over. In the crowd, Lu Ming frowned. The burly man was too strong. He was definitely not at the first layer of Spirit God. He was probably at the third or fourth layer of Spirit God. In the spiritual God realm, the gap between each layer was huge. It was not too difficult for someone one layer higher to kill someone one layer lower, let alone someone a few layers higher. Charge, let's charge out. Cold Blood Hall only has a few hundred people. We have tens of thousands. Let's charge out together. That's right. Storage rings are all that we martial artists have. How can we cultivate in the future if we hand them over? At worst, we'll just fight it out. Charge! Roars suddenly came from the crowd. Some people began to charge out in all directions. With someone leading the charge, the crowd was instantly thrown into chaos. No one wanted to hand over their storage rings. Many people followed suit when they saw others breaking out of the encirclement. Tens of thousands of people broke out of the encirclement in all directions. The planes were in chaos. You're courting death. Kill, kill without mercy. The burly man roared, his killing intent raging. Boom, boom, boom. The experts of Cold Blood Hall burst out with powerful auras. Rays of bloody light bloomed. There were more than 20 spiritual god experts. The rest were at the high level of the spiritual embryo realm. There were even some old monsters among them. Kill. Whoosh. Whoosh. Rays of bloody light formed sword rays, saber rays, fist forces, etc., and blasted toward Lu Ming and the others. Hundreds of people were killed in an instant, their bodies scattered on the ground. A spear ray pierced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming punched out and shattered the spear ray. His figure flashed as he rushed toward the mountain range on the left. Only by rushing into the mountain range and making use of the complex terrain and the fierce beasts in the mountain range could he avoid the experts of Cold Blood Hall. If he ran to either end of the plains, he would definitely be caught and killed. An expert fixed his eyes on Lu Ming. Rays of bloody light flashed in his hand, forming rays of spear light that pierced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming unleashed his movement technique and flashed continuously, avoiding the spear gleams as he ran at high speed. The plains were completely drowned in screams. Large numbers of corpses fell, and the smell of blood filled the air. Swallow. Some experts of Cold Blood Hall used the bloodthirst technique to swallow the thick smell of blood into their mouths. Boom, boom. There were few extremely terrifying experts from Cold Blood Hall, such as the burly man and the two elders. Their auras were violent. With a wave of their hands, the sky and earth shook. Large numbers of experts were killed by their palm prints. There were also a few spiritual god experts in Lu Ming's group, but they were no match for the experts and died one after another. I'll give you my storage ring. Some people were scared and shouted that they wanted to give up their storage rings. However, some people continued to charge forward, unwilling to give up their storage rings. Master Lu, save me. Lu Ming was charging forward when he suddenly heard a cry. He turned his gaze and was slightly stunned. Zhou Exan. He saw Zhou Exan. At this moment, Zhou Exan was running with all her might, trying to get out. Let's go. Lu Ming pulled Zhou Exan and moved forward quickly. Stay. An elder fixed his eyes on the two of them. His terrifying aura erupted as he charged toward them. This elder's aura was stronger than that of an ordinary LV1 spiritual god. He should be a LV2 spiritual god expert. Lu Ming pulled Zhou Xian and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. His body was like a stream of light, but his speed was affected as he was carrying someone. Soon the elder caught up with them. The old man threw a punch, and a blood-red fist force blasted toward Lu Ming. Chapter 1045. Lu Ming let go of Zhou Xian and unleashed his dragon force. He circulated the Strangle Hell skill to the maximum and punched. Boom! As the two forces collided, Lu Ming's body shook violently. He retreated a few steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. The elder was too strong. A second-level spirit god was several times stronger than a first-level spirit god. Lu Ming used the Strangle Hell skill to the maximum to barely block the punch, but he was still injured. The elder was shocked to see that Lu Ming, an ant with a perfected spirit embryo, could survive his punch. He was stunned and did not continue to attack. At the same time, the vital vitality in the vitality-receiving stone poured into Lu Ming's body. He pulled Zhou Xian and used the 9 dragons' heaven-trampling steps to run forward. Zhou Xian had given him the purple jade that contained the vitality-receiving stone. Now that she was in danger, how could Lu Ming leave her in the lurch? The two of them left in a flash. Only then did the elder react. His killing intent exploded as he shouted angrily, "Where do you think you're going?" He quickly chased after Lu Ming. Swoosh! Swoosh! In front of them, there were also experts from Cold Blood Hall attacking Lu Ming. Attacks enveloped the two of them. These were attacks from experts with a perfected spirit embryo. Lu Ming was not afraid of them alone, but with Zhou Xian, Lu Ming had to attack to help her block the attacks. As a result, their speed was slowed down again. Behind them, the elder chased after them. "Hand over your storage rings, and I'll let you go." The elder roared. Zhou Xian gritted her teeth and did not say a word. She looked anxious and worried, but she had no intention of handing over her storage rings. "Forget it, let's fight." Lu Ming's gaze moved, and a voice entered Zhou Xian's ears. "Don't resist." Lu Ming's voice rang out. Zhou Xian nodded. Then a light flashed between Lu Ming's brows, and the mountain river diagram appeared. He swept Zhou Xian into the mountain river diagram. Swoosh! Lu Ming was the only one left. His speed increased explosively, and the Cold Blood Hall expert in front of him, with a perfect spirit embryo, was blown apart by Lu Ming. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and was like a stream of light. For a moment, the old man couldn't catch up. How can he be so strong? Who is this young man? The old man was shocked and chased after him with all his might, but he found that Lu Ming was getting further and further away. In less than 2 minutes, Lu Ming rushed into the mountain range. Within the mountain range, terrifying ferocious beasts were entrenched. Not long after Lu Ming rushed in, he met quite a few ferocious beasts of spirit embryo realm, but he rushed past them all. Lu Ming could only run as fast as he could, since the Cold Blood Hall elder was still hot on his heels. Roar! A huge black tiger appeared. It was more than 10 meters tall and looked like a small mountain. A terrifying aura emanated from it. With a loud roar, the clouds in the sky exploded. This was an extremely powerful, ferocious beast. It had the bloodline of a divine beast, but it didn't want to take human form and hid deep in the forest. When it saw Lu Ming and the Cold Blood Hall elder, its eyes flashed fiercely. With a loud roar, it slapped at Lu Ming with its claws. Lu Ming blocked it with the mountain river painting and punched out, but he was still sent flying by the black tiger's slap and broke dozens of huge rocks. However, the black tiger's target was obviously not Lu Ming but the old man. Because the old man posed a great threat to the black tiger, and Lu Ming's aura was weak, the black tiger ignored him and pounced on the old man. Immediately, the black tiger and the old man fought fiercely, and the old man was at a disadvantage. Not far away, the rocks exploded and Lu Ming dashed out from the rocks. His figure flashed, and he left the place at lightning speed. Damn it! The Cold-Blood Hall elder roared, but there was nothing he could do. He was suppressed by the black tiger and could only barely protect himself as he watched Lu Ming leave. This black tiger is really powerful. Lu Ming wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, feeling a splitting pain all over his body. Just now, being slapped by the black tiger, he suffered considerable injuries, but it was worth it to shake off the Cold-Blood Hall elder. Next, Lu Ming slowed down a little, restrained his aura and focused his mind. If he sensed a strong aura, Lu Ming would go around it. It took Lu Ming a whole day to cross the mountain range. After crossing the mountain range, Lu Ming did not stop. He rose into the air and flew into the distance. After flying for millions of miles, Lu Ming stopped by a small river. He took a bath in the river and changed into a new set of clothes. He then sat cross-legged and began to recuperate. Although he was injured, they were all external injuries. Now that his body was strong, these injuries were healed in less than half a day. Phew! Lu Ming exhaled. With a wave of his hand, Zhou Xian appeared. Zhou Xian looked around vigilantly as soon as she appeared. When she saw that Lu Ming was alone, she heaved a long sigh of relief. "Don't worry, Miss Zhou. We're already far away from that mountain range." Lu Ming said, "Thank you for saving me again, Master Lu. I'm very grateful." Zhou Xian bowed to Lu Ming and said gratefully, "You're welcome, Miss Zhou. You gave me the purple jade that you wanted. Since I saw you in danger, I should help you." Lu Ming smiled faintly and asked, "Where are your servants?" Zhou Xian used to have servants by her side, including maids and guards, but now they were all gone. Zhou Xian's eyes reddened. They're all dead." "Oh." Lu Ming did not say much. He thought for a while and said, "Miss Zhou, where do you live? Do you need me to send you back?" "I'm from the Zhou family of Drum Mountain. I was just about to invite you to my house as a guest," Zhou Xian said. Drum Mountain. Lu Ming thought for a while. He had bought a map of Central Continent and roughly knew the direction of Drum Mountain. It was also west, which was the same direction as Lu Ming wanted to go. "All right, I'll go with you." Lu Ming nodded. Zhou Xian was overjoyed. The two of them rose into the air and left. After a few million miles, they arrived at a small power with a transmission formation. Cold-Blood Hall did not have the power to control the transmission formation on this side of the mountain range because it was already part of Sky Eagle Fort's territory. The two of them took the transmission formation and traveled hundreds of millions of miles, which was equivalent to the distance of dozens of large domains in eastern wilderness. They then flew for another 2 days before arriving at Drum Mountain. Drum Mountain was surrounded by tall peaks and cranes. There was not much vegetation on the mountain because it was filled with spiritual qi of the fire attribute. Hence, the vegetation here was sparse. Drum Mountain was the territory of the Zhou family. On the way, Lu Ming learned that the Zhou family was a small force. There were not many spiritual god experts in the Zhou family. One could count them with one hand. "Miss Zhou is back." Someone cheered as soon as they arrived near Drum Mountain. "So you're the eldest daughter of the Zhou family," Lu Ming said with a smile. "My father is the head of the Zhou family. It's just a small power. Please don't laugh at me." Zhou Xian pursed her lips and smiled. Xian. Chapter 1046. Father. Zhou Xian was overjoyed and flew up. "Father, come, let me introduce you. This is young Master Lu, Lu Shaoqing. It's all thanks to young Master Lu that I could come back alive to see you." Zhou Xian pulled the middle-aged man and introduced him to Lu Ming. "Junior Lu, Shaoqing greets Patriarch Lu." Lu Ming went up and cupped his fist. "Haha, young Master Lu is too polite. You saved my daughter and are the benefactor of my Zhou family. Come, let's go in first. You must have had a tough journey. Take a rest first. I'll prepare a banquet tomorrow to thank young Master Lu." Family head Zhou said politely. "Family head Zhou, you're too polite." Lu Ming cupped his fist. The group walked into the Zhou family. The Zhou family was huge. Among the peaks there were palaces, pavilions, cultivation rooms, etc. The air was filled with dense fire attribute, spiritual energy. Obviously, the Zhou family cultivated fire attribute, cultivation techniques. After entering the Zhou family, they quickly arranged an elegant courtyard for Lu Ming to stay in. In the room, Lu Ming sat cross-legged. This is a good place to comprehend the fire attribute. Immediately after, he closed his eyes and began to comprehend the attribute. After this period of cultivation, his attributes had improved. However, other than the water attribute, the other attributes still did not break through to the 4th level. Although the wind, fire, and thunder attributes were close to the 4th level, they were still a little short and did not break through. In the family head, Zhou's room, Zhou Exan stood in front of him. At this moment, the family head, Zhou's eyes were filled with excitement. He looked at Zhou Exan and said, "Exan, that treasure, did you really get it?" "Father, I got it." Zhou Exan was also excited. Her palm glowed and a jade box appeared. She passed it to the family head, Zhou. The family head, Zhou, took the jade box. His hands were trembling. He took a deep breath and opened the jade box. There was a jade token inside. The family head, Zhou, took out the jade token and scanned the contents of the jade token. Slowly his body began to tremble and he was overjoyed. "It's true! It's true! A supreme treasure, a supreme treasure. It's just like the ancient records. With it, my Zhou family has hope of rising, haha." The head of the Zhou family couldn't help but laugh. "Father, but the materials on it are not easy to find," Zhou Exan said. Patriarch Zhou took a deep breath to calm himself down and said, "Yes, it's not easy to find the materials, but there's always hope. By the way, Exan, how did you escape? I heard that Cold Blood Hall had mobilized a large force this time. Did you really rely on that Lu brat to save you?" Zhou Exan nodded and said, "Indeed, it was Lu Shaoqing who saved me that allowed me to escape. Lu Shaoqing is a peerless genius. I heard that even the Sanguinarum was defeated by him." "What? Even Sanguinarum lost to him?" The patriarch of the Zhou clan was shocked. He found it hard to believe because he had never heard of Lu Shaoqing's name before. Following that, the Zhou clan's patriarch asked, "What's the background of this Lu Shaoqing? Which power is he from? Even if he's a peerless genius, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for him to save you from the experts of Cold Blood Hall." "Father, it's like this." Immediately, Zhou Exan told her father all the news she had heard about Lu Ming and how Lu Ming had saved her. "What? Grotto Heaven treasure? You said Lu Shaoqing has a Grotto Heaven treasure?" After hearing Zhou Exan's story, the Zhou clan's patriarch widened his eyes in shock. An incomparably hot flame flashed in his eyes. "Yes, it must be a Grotto Heaven treasure without a doubt. It's a universe of its own, and living creatures can live in it. It's 100,000 miles wide and is exactly the same as the legendary Grotto Heaven treasure," Zhou Exan said with certainty. She was also shocked when Lu Ming first took her into the mountain river diagram. "Grotto Heaven treasure. It's a Grotto Heaven treasure." The flame in the Zhou clan's patriarch's eyes grew hotter and hotter. He then asked, "Exan, do you think Lu Shaoqing is from any overlord power?" "Yes, I heard that Lu Shaoqing told others," Zhou Exan said. "Good, that's good." A murderous intent flashed in the Zhou clan's patriarch's eyes. Zhou Exan was startled and said, "Father, what are you trying to do?" Exan, as you know, our Zhou clan once had a 9 heavens supreme tens of thousands of years ago. It's a powerful force that's only second to the overlords, but it's still not as strong as it is today. At this rate, it's only a matter of time before we're wiped out in the middle continent. It's not enough to rely on that treasure alone, as the materials are too hard to find. However, Lu Shaoqing has a Grotto Heaven treasure. He must have found a great opportunity to become so powerful at such a young age. The martial arts, martial skills, secret techniques, and even the other treasures he has are absolutely shocking. If he belongs to our Zhou clan, together with that treasure, our Zhou clan will have a chance to rise again. The Zhou clan's patriarch said coldly, his eyes filled with anticipation. Father, are you planning to kill Lu Shaoqing? Zhou Xian said with a trembling voice. No, capture him first and seal his cultivation base. Then, force him to hand over his paradise treasure. Hand over all his treasures and reveal his secrets. After that, kill him. After all, a treasure like the paradise treasure must have been stored in his sea of consciousness. Even if we kill him, we won't be able to take it out. The Zhou clan's patriarch's eyes were very cold, and his voice was even colder. Zhou Xian shuddered and said with a trembling voice, But father, Lu Shaoqing has saved me twice. I can't bear to treat him like this. Silly. The Zhou clan's patriarch waved his sleeve and scolded. So what if he saved you? This world is so cruel. If you are indecisive and not ruthless enough, you won't be able to rise again. Sooner or later, you will die at the hands of others. Those who want to do big things don't care about trifles. As long as we can get Lu Shaoqing's secrets and treasures, our Zhou clan will have a chance to rise again. Do you want to see our Zhou clan decline? One more thing. You met Lu Shaoqing in the ancient herb garden, and later faced the encirclement of Cold Blood Hall. You risked your life and didn't hand over the storage ring. Won't Lu Shaoqing be suspicious of all this? He will more or less think of something. If this news spreads and Cold Blood Hall comes, our Zhou clan will be destroyed. So no matter what, Lu Shaoqing can't be allowed to live. The Zhou clan's patriarch stared at Zhou Xian with bright eyes. Under the gaze of the Zhou clan's patriarch, Zhou Xian wavered. In the end, she sighed and said, Father Xian, I will listen to everything you say. Well, that's more like it. How about this? We'll hold a banquet for him tomorrow. I'll put qingming powder in the food and wine. This kind of powder is colorless and tasteless. No matter how high one's cultivation is, he won't be able to sense it. Once he takes it, he won't be able to mobilize his genuine vitality. Since Lu Shaoqing cares so much about you, I guess he's interested in you and won't guard against you. When he takes the qingming powder, he'll be at our mercy. The Zhou clan's patriarch had a look of confidence. Father, Lu Shaoqing is not a person to be trifled with. Qingming powder alone may not be enough. We can't let our guard down when facing such a genius, Zhou Xian said. Yes, you're right. I was careless. I'll report to the patriarch and ask him to come out of seclusion. Even if something goes wrong, the patriarch can easily suppress Lu Shaoqing. Chapter 1047. The father and daughter discussed for a while more before Zhou Xian left the Zhou clan patriarch's room. Zhou Xian let out a long sigh as she gazed at the bright moon in the sky. Lu Shaoqing, I hope you don't blame me. All of you are peerless geniuses with great, fortuitous encounters and are high and mighty. But people like us who don't have the best natural talent have to use some methods to rise up. Otherwise, how can we compare to all of you? Zhou Xian murmured to herself. Slowly her gaze became firm. The night passed quickly. At noon the next day, Zhou Xian's voice sounded from outside Lu Ming's room. Young Master Lu. Zhou Xian called out softly. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and opened the door. He saw Zhou Xian standing gracefully at the door. Zhou Xian had specially dressed up today. She looked like a lotus flower that had just emerged from the water and was peerlessly beautiful. To be honest, Zhou Xian was a rare beauty. Many men would be moved by her. However, Lu Ming had seen too many beauties. Xian Yanqing, Jing Kongling, Sandalwood Fairy. Every single one of them was devastatingly beautiful and peerless. There was also Mid-Autumn Moon and Mulins. They were also rare in the world and far from what Zhou Xian could compare to. So, Zhou Xian seemed very ordinary in Lu Ming's eyes. Miss Zhou. Lu Ming smiled lightly. Young Master Lu, my father has prepared a banquet to thank you. Zhou Xian smiled sweetly. Patriarch Zhou is too courteous. Then let's go. Lu Ming smiled faintly and followed Zhou Exan out. After a while, they arrived at the courtyard of the Zhou clan patriarch's estate. Ha ha ha, young Master Lu, you're here. Please. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, the Zhou clan patriarch came over to greet him. There were two old men beside the Zhou clan patriarch. Lu Ming swept them with his gaze and noticed that the two old men's auras were thick. They were actually spirit god realm experts. However, they shouldn't be too strong and should be at the first level of the spirit god realm. The Zhou clan patriarch was obviously stronger. Lu Ming guessed that the Zhou clan patriarch might be at the second level of the spirit god realm. Patriarch Zhou is too courteous. Lu Ming cupped his fists and walked into the courtyard with the Zhou clan head and the others. The courtyard was already filled with fine wine and delicacies. It was extremely sumptuous. The dishes were not ordinary. There were flood dragon tendons, lightning bird wings, 1,000-year fire lobsters, and so on. They were all rare delicacies. If eaten regularly, they would be greatly beneficial to a martial artist's cultivation. They were extremely expensive, and ordinary people would never be able to see them in their entire lives. Everyone sat down, and Zhou Exan poured wine for everyone. She raised her cup and said, "Young Master Lu, Zhou Exan offers you a toast. Thank you for saving us." "Haha, Miss Zhou, Patriarch Zhou, you're too polite." Lu Ming smiled. The father and daughter of the Zhou family were too polite, making Lu Ming a little embarrassed. Lu Ming picked up the wine glass. He did not feel anything strange and drank it in one gulp. Seeing Lu Ming drinking the wine, the patriarch of the Zhou clan and the two old men were pleasantly surprised. In Zhou Exan's eyes, there was a hint of reluctance, but it was quickly replaced by determination. "Good wine." Lu Ming drank it and sighed with praise, and he still seemed as if he hadn't noticed anything unusual. "Haha, since young Master Lu thinks it's good wine, then drink a few more cups," said the Zhou clan's patriarch with a smile. "It is good wine. Unfortunately, it's poisoned, so it isn't good wine anymore." Lu Ming spoke abruptly. "What?" The Zhou clan's patriarch and the others were slightly stunned. "Kill!" Lu Ming suddenly roared explosively as dragon energy erupted, and then he slapped his palm towards one of the old men. This palm strike caught the old man off guard, and he didn't have the time to defend himself at all before Lu Ming's palm struck him. A shrill cry resounded as the old man's body was directly split into pieces. "Damn it!" The Zhou clan's patriarch roared furiously. An old man at the domain enlightened spirit god realm had been instantly annihilated, and his heart was on the verge of bleeding. There weren't many domain enlightened spirit gods in his Zhou clan, and they'd accumulated them for a few thousands of years. Now, one had perished in an instant. Bang! A violent aura erupted from the Zhou clan's patriarch as he smashed his palm towards Lu Ming. This palm strike was like an avalanche that caused the heavens and the earth to shake. The table and the dishes on it were instantly transformed into powder, and Lu Ming felt a strand of terrifying force surge towards him. This was the strength of a second-level domain enlightened spirit god. Lu Ming seized the opportunity to slap his palm out, and it collided with the Zhou clan's patriarch's palm. A force that could topple mountains and overturn seas surged over, causing Lu Ming's body to shake violently before he was blasted flying. After that, he took over 10 steps successively on the ground, and every single step he took blasted open a large hole in the ground while the ground trembled without end. What formidable force! Let's go! Lu Ming didn't hesitate in the slightest to take a step forward. An entire mountain shook violently as a terrifying force erupted, causing the mountain to be on the verge of exploding. If the Zhou clan's main peaks hadn't been inscribed with grand formations, they would have probably exploded into pieces by now. Lu Ming's figure shot into the sky. "Stay right there!" The Zhou clan's patriarch and another old man shot into the sky, and then their terrifying attacks blasted towards Lu Ming. "I'll smash it!" Dandan rushed out, and its 4 limbs retracted into its tortoise shell as it smashed towards the Zhou clan's patriarch. Boom! The Zhou clan's patriarch slammed his palm onto the tortoise shell, sending Dandan flying. However, with this delay, Lu Ming had already rushed into the sky and was prepared to use the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps to escape. Right at this moment, boom! Above Lu Ming's head, a mighty and unstoppable force erupted and landed on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body seemed to have been smashed by a primordial divine mountain, and he plummeted downwards like a cannonball before crashing heavily onto the ground, creating a large hole. Lu Ming half knelt on the ground, his face pale as he coughed out blood continuously. In the sky, a white-haired old man appeared. The aura on his body was incomparably terrifying, mighty, and unfathomable. Earlier on, it was this old man who blasted Lu Ming down with a single palm strike. Dandan wanted to escape, but the old man waved his hand and condensed a gigantic palm that blotted out the sky, grabbing Dandan in the palm. 4th level, spirit god realm, and above. Lu Ming's heart sank. This old man's cultivation must have reached the 4th level of the spirit god realm, or even higher. He did not expect the Zhou clan to have such a powerful existence. Then Lu Ming turned his gaze toward Zhou Xian and shouted with a cold gaze, "Why?" Lu Ming was truly in disbelief. He had never expected the Zhou clan to attack him. Lu Shaoqing, hand over your grotto heaven treasure and the cultivation technique and martial technique you're cultivating. Tell me the secret of how you became stronger. Don't say that it's because of talent. For a paragon to rise, talent is one aspect, opportunity is another. The Zhou clan's patriarch walked to Lu Ming and said coldly, "Ha ha ha, I see." Lu Ming suddenly burst out laughing. He now understood that the people of the Zhou clan were after his mountain and river pattern and some other treasures. Ingrates. The Zhou clan was a complete bunch of ingrates. He had saved Zhou Xian twice, but the Zhou clan turned hostile in the blink of an eye and wanted to deal with him. How ridiculous was that? Zhou Xian's eyes flickered with a hint of pity, but she clenched her teeth and did not say anything. Roar! A dragon's roar was suddenly heard as the bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons and soared into the sky. 9 dragons, it's the bloodline of the 9 dragons. Chapter 1048. You won't be able to leave today. Stay here. Forefather Zhou let out a long roar, and his aura soared into the sky like a pillar, shaking heaven and earth. He struck out with a palm that was as large as a mountain, blocking Lu Ming's path of retreat. The palm struck the 9 dragons. Lu Ming burst forth with all his strength. The power of 7 dragons and 5 kinds of concepts burst forth. The hell-suppressing celestial skill also burst forth to the extreme. 9 transformations, consecutive steps. Lu Ming released his peak attack, Rumble. The giant palm formed by Forefather Zhou actually trembled slightly. Forefather Zhou's expression was incomparably solemn as he sighed. A perfected spirit embryo is actually so powerful. It's simply terrifying. Since I've already offended this kid, I definitely can't let him leave. Patriarch Zhou and the other elder were also astonished. Forefather Zhou was a 4th level spirit god, but he let out such a sigh. It was truly shocking. Boom! Forefather Zhou's aura became stronger, and the power of his palm burst forth. Bang! Bang! Explosions rang out continuously on the 9 dragons' bodies before they collapsed. Lu Ming's figure reappeared and landed on the ground, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. Forefather Zhou was simply too strong. Even if he used all his strength, it was difficult for him to charge out. Swoosh! Forefather Zhou appeared in front of Lu Ming and pointed his finger continuously. Lu Ming couldn't block it at all. Poof! Poof! Streams of finger force entered Lu Ming's body. Boundless true essence poured in and sealed Lu Ming's true essence. Lu Ming couldn't mobilize a trace of true essence. Buzz! A small pagoda flew out from the heart of Forefather Zhou's brows. The small pagoda flew out and quickly grew in size. It floated above Lu Ming's head and scattered rays of light that entered Lu Ming's body. At this moment, Lu Ming felt that not only could he not circulate his true essence, but even his concept runes were sealed. He couldn't even use his concepts. I've already sealed this kid with the essence sealing pagoda. He can't use his true essence, bloodline, or concepts. He can't escape. Forefather Zhou said. Light spread from one of his hands. Dandan was sealed inside. You little thieves, quickly let me go. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a burial ground in the future. Dandan's voice came from the turtle shell as it retracted its limbs. Puny demonic beast, you're courting death. Forefather Zhou shouted. He circulated his vital energy and squeezed hard, wanting to crush the Dandan. But in the next moment, Forefather Zhou's expression changed. He found that Dandan was motionless. Ha ha ha, old man. You want to kill me with your pitiful strength? Keep dreaming. Let me tell you, hurry up and release me, and release that brat. Otherwise, when I show my power, you can just wait to die. Dandan roared with laughter. Dandan had eaten a lot of elixirs recently and had recovered a lot. Forefather Zhou's face turned slightly red. He couldn't even crush a little turtle. He was a little embarrassed. He said coldly, I'll refine you later. Then he looked at Patriarch Zhou and said, This kid has been suppressed now. He must have a big secret on him. I'll leave the rest to you. With that, Forefather Zhou stepped into the air and left this place. Patriarch Zhou looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Shaoqing, now that you're in our hands, hand over your grotto heaven treasure and cultivation method and martial technique. Haha, if you want to kill me, then kill me. Lu Ming's gaze was very cold. He glanced at Patriarch Zhou, Zhou Exan and the other old man. This made them shiver involuntarily. Humph! The head of the Zhou family snorted coldly. He reached out his hand and sucked the storage ring from Lu Ming's finger into his hand. He scanned the storage ring with his mind and checked it. After a while, his face sank and he looked ugly. There were quite a lot of things in the storage ring, but they were not particularly valuable. There were no rare treasures that could tempt him. Lu Ming sneered. Most of his valuable treasures were placed in one of the mountains in the mountain river diagram. His second body had set up an illusory and real formation on this mountain. Other than Lu Ming, no one could find it. One would encounter danger when wandering outside. He was afraid that one day, if he encountered danger, the treasures would fall into the hands of others. Lu Shaoqing, hand over the grotto heaven treasure, or I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. Patriarch Zhou's eyes flashed with killing intent. Ha! Lu Ming sneered. His gaze became even colder as he said, If I escape in the future, I'll definitely kill the Zhou family. You won't have the chance. Patriarch Zhou said coldly. His true essence spread out and formed a true essence ribbon. He carried Lu Ming and stepped into the air. Zhou Exan and the other old man followed. Very soon, the head of the Zhou family brought Lu Ming to a cave and they walked in. The cave was slanted downwards. No one knew where it led to. Lu Ming felt that as they went deeper and deeper, the temperature around them became higher and higher. It made him feel hot all over. Patriarch Zhou and the others used their true essence to resist, but Lu Ming could not use his true essence. The terrifying temperature directly affected his body, causing him to feel a piercing pain. However, Lu Ming did not even frown. He allowed Patriarch Zhou to lead him. After walking for half an hour, they finally reached the end. This was a huge underground cave. They stood on top of a cliff and looked forward. Below them was endless purple-red magma. The temperature here was terrifyingly high. The surface of Lu Ming's body was a little red, and waves of piercing pain came. With the current strength of Lu Ming's physical body, even if ordinary flames were to roast Lu Ming, they would not be able to burn a single hair on Lu Ming's body. Obviously, The magma here and the flames here were extraordinary. The temperature was terrifyingly high. The temperature of the magma here was more than 100 times higher than ordinary magma. Lu Ming felt that not only was his physical body in pain, but even the blood in his body was boiling. His soul felt like it was being torn apart, and there were waves of intense pain. Spirit-burning earth flames. Lu Ming frowned as he recognized this flame. Lu Shaoqing, are you going to hand it over or not? You're a smart person. If you hand it over, I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, enjoy the taste of this spirit-burning earth flames. Patriarch Zhou said coldly. However, Lu Ming only responded with a disdainful sneer. Stubborn, I'll fulfill your wish. With a push of his palm, Lu Ming's body fell towards the magma and floated above it. Hoo-hoo, terrifying purplish-red flames surged and enveloped Lu Ming. The terrifying temperature seeped into Lu Ming's body and began to burn. Waves of unimaginable pain drowned Lu Ming. Not only his physical body, but also his soul. Pain, unimaginable pain. Even with Lu Ming's wisdom, he groaned and broke out in cold sweat. However, the moment the cold sweat appeared, it evaporated in an instant. Lu Ming panted heavily, gritting his teeth and persevering. He had once stepped on the Heavenly King Monument stairs and suffered countless attacks. Some pierced his soul, and it was also extremely painful. Similarly, when he cultivated the twin life forbidden technique, his soul needed to be split into two. That was also unimaginable pain. Therefore, Lu Ming's endurance was better than ordinary people. He adjusted his breathing and calmed himself down. Patriarch Zhou's eyes were cold at first, but slowly they were filled with shock. Chapter 1049. In his imagination, Lu Ming should have roared, wailed, screamed, and begged for mercy. However, he didn't see any of that. He knew how terrifying the burning god Earth Flame was. In the past, he had brought many people who had offended him, and none of them could last more than 5 minutes. All of them screamed and begged for mercy. There were even some who begged for death, because being in the burning god Earth Flame was worse than death. However, more than 10 minutes had passed, and Lu Ming was sitting calmly on top of the magma as if he was sitting in a normal place. This kid is too shocking. He's a terrifying monster. We can't let him leave alive. Patriarch Zhou's heart trembled slightly. Father, I'll go back first. Zhou Exan said with pity in her eyes. All right, you go first. Patriarch Zhou said. Zhou Exan glanced at Lu Ming before turning to leave. Let's see how long you can endure. Patriarch Zhou's eyes were cold as he formed a seal with both hands. The ceiling Yuan Tower shook and a few iron chains fell from the top. They pierced Lu Ming's shoulder and locked Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming gave a muffled snort. He cast a cold glance at the head of the Zhou family and then closed his eyes. He had locked his physical body with metal chains and used the essence sealing pagoda to suppress his quintessential essence and intent, making him unable to resist at all. The head of the Zhou family was afraid that Lu Ming would escape. Terrifying flames were burning Lu Ming's body all around. Unimaginable pain came in waves. At first, Lu Ming was suffering bitterly, but slowly he calmed down. No matter how great the pain is, it won't shake my heart. This is just a trial on my martial path. No matter how much he suffers, I won't move. Lu Ming gradually calmed down. In the end, he entered an ethereal state. The pain was leaving him. In the end, Lu Ming seemed to have become one with heaven and earth. It was a wonderful state. In ancient records, it was called Tao Enlightenment, one with heaven and earth. Breaking free from the shackles of the physical body and comprehending the great Tao of heaven and earth. No one would have thought that burning Lu Ming with the god-burning earth flame would instead cause Lu Ming's mind to become empty and enter a mysterious state. Time flew by. Half an hour, 1 hour, 5 hours, half a day, 1 day. 3 days later, Lu Ming was still sitting calmly on top of the magma, motionless. The patriarch of the Zhou clan and the old man were shocked at the beginning, but they were now numb to it. Lu Ming was actually sitting there, motionless. If not for the fact that his body was still filled with vitality, they would have thought that Lu Ming was already dead. This kid is truly heaven-defying. He can actually endure for 3 days? The old man spoke with a trembling voice. All peerless geniuses have extraordinary willpower and willpower. This person is definitely terrifying since he was able to defeat Sanguinarum. However, as long as he's human, there's a limit. He's just enduring it now. I don't believe that he can endure it forever, the patriarch of the Zhou clan said. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that Lu Ming had already entered the ethereal state. 10,000 tribulations were on him, and he was like a gentle breeze. They continued to wait. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Lu Ming was still sitting calmly on top of the magma. The patriarch of the Zhou clan gritted his teeth. Lu Shaoqing, are you going to hand it over or not? If you hand it over, you won't have to suffer this pain. The patriarch of the Zhou clan asked loudly. In the past 7 days, this was the 32nd time he had asked. Lu Ming closed his eyes. Just like before, he couldn't be bothered with him. Fine, fine. If you don't want to talk, then stay here forever and suffer the pain of the god-burning earth flame. Elder Shan, let's go. The patriarch of the Zhou clan waved his sleeves and strode out. He had lost his patience. The two of them left the place. Then, along the way, there were stone doors that were closed and sealed off. Lu Ming's physical body was sealed and his cultivation was suppressed. He couldn't cause any trouble. They planned to suppress Lu Ming here and see how long he could last. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on top of the magma without moving. He entered a mysterious state and forgot everything. He only instinctively comprehended the great Tao of heaven and earth, an intent realm of heaven and earth. Time passed quickly like flowing water. Day after day passed. In the beginning, the patriarch of the Zhou clan would come here every 7 days to interrogate Lu Ming. Later on, he came once a month. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Lu Ming had been suppressed here for a full year. In a cave abode of the Zhou clan, the patriarch of the Zhou clan sat cross-legged. His palm was burning a tortoiseshell. This tortoiseshell was Dandan. Little thief, I told you that you can't do anything to me. Just wait for your death. Dandan shouted in the tortoiseshell. When the flames dissipated, the patriarch of the Zhou clan looked at the tortoiseshell in his hand with an extremely serious expression. In the past year, he had used all kinds of methods, but he couldn't do anything to Dandan. He couldn't kill it no matter what. This shocked him and made him feel more and more afraid. Moreover, he had also heard that Lu Ming had been suppressed in the burning divine earth flame for a year and had not moved at all. He had actually endured for a full year. All of this made Patriarch Zhou feel a sense of horror. He could not calm down. At this moment, a figure walked in. It was the patriarch of the Zhou clan. How is Lu Shaoqing? The patriarch of the Zhou clan asked. That kid still hasn't said a word. He really deserves to die. The patriarch of the Zhou clan gritted his teeth. We can't continue like this. That kid and this tortoise are too evil. We can't let them live. Let's wait for another 3 months. If that kid still doesn't speak after 3 months, we'll kill him. And this tortoise, after we kill that kid, I'll go out and ask a supreme to destroy this tortoise. The patriarch of the Zhou clan said. All right. The patriarch of the Zhou clan nodded helplessly. If they killed Lu Ming, they wouldn't be able to obtain the paradise treasure. All their efforts would be in vain. However, keeping Lu Ming alive made the patriarch of the Zhou clan increasingly flustered. Lu Ming was too evil. Keeping him alive was too dangerous. In the underground cavern, Lu Ming was still sitting cross-legged above the lava. The essence sealing pagoda hovered above his head, suppressing Lu Ming. He couldn't use his veritable essence energy, bloodline, or state. However, just at this moment, a scarlet light suddenly spread out from his spine. Slowly, the scarlet light grew denser. In the end, the scarlet light flourished, suppressing the color of the purple-red lava. The entire underground cavern was filled with a scarlet light. Then, a drop of blood spread out from Lu Ming's spine and hovered above Lu Ming's head. This drop of blood was scarlet and crystalline. However, it seemed extremely cold. Boundless killing, intent, spread out from it. Moreover, it had a supreme might that filled the entire underground cavern. Whoosh! Lu Ming's eyes, which had been closed for a year, suddenly opened. Third bloodline. This is my third bloodline. Lu Ming's eyes shone. After sitting here for a year, his physical body and soul had gone through many tests. Now he finally awakened his third bloodline. Chapter 1050. Lu Ming had never expected that his third bloodline would be a drop of blood. This drop of blood was not the blood essence of the 9 dragons, but a bloodline that had been awakened in his body. Moreover, there was no chakra around this drop of blood, which was unbelievable. This was exactly the same as when his 9 dragons' bloodline had just been awakened. When the 9 dragons' bloodline had just been awakened, there was no chakra either. However, after devouring the blood essence, it would continue to improve. But now, could it be the same for his third bloodline? Lu Ming's consciousness merged with his third bloodline and sensed it carefully. Kill, kill, kill. When Lu Ming merged with his third bloodline, an earth-shattering roar exploded in Lu Ming's mind. This voice was mighty and majestic. It was filled with dense, murderous intent. Endless murderous intent instantly drowned Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming let out an explosive roar. His eyes were filled with terrifying, murderous intent. At this moment, his heart was filled with endless murderous intent, as if he wanted to slaughter all the living things in the world. Rumble. At the same time, Lu Ming felt endless energy from this drop of blood in his third bloodline. This drop of blood was no longer a drop of blood in Lu Ming's eyes. It was a sea of blood, an endless sea of blood. This sea of blood was filled with endless energy. Lu Ming felt that even a martial emperor would be as insignificant as an ant in front of this energy. At this moment, there was a trace of energy flowing into Lu Ming's body. This trace of energy was not even a billionth of the total energy in the sea of blood. However, it was already extremely terrifying. Kill! Lu Ming roared angrily again. His murderous intent was boundless. At this moment, a layer of blood-red glow emanated from his body. The strange thing was that his hair actually turned blood-red at this moment. It was as red as blood. His blood-red hair fluttered in the wind. Terrifying energy burst out from Lu Ming's body. Bang! 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 The chains that were hanging down from the ceiling Yuan Tower instantly collapsed and turned into dust. As for the scattered light from the ceiling Essence Pagoda, the light that was suppressing Lu Ming's cultivation, it was also struck by this power and collapsed. After losing the power of suppression, Lu Ming's true essence, which had been suppressed for a year, started to roar crazily. His spirit embryo started to beat violently like a heart. At the same time, the concept rune began to glow and rapidly lengthen. Boom! 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 A 5-colored pillar of light soared into the sky and bombarded the Yuan ceiling tower. The ceiling Essence Pagoda shook continuously before it finally exploded. Concepts. Lu Ming's 5 types of concepts had all broken through to the 4th level at this moment. Terrifying energy surged, the magma below churned, and the cave above shook. At this moment, in the Zhou family, forefather Zhou was shocked. His aura shot into the sky, and his eyes were filled with shock. He shouted, "Not good! Something happened in the underground cavern." After saying that, he quickly rushed into the underground cave. 4th level concept. Lu Ming roared. In the end, his mind wasn't crushed by the endless killing intent, and he still retained a trace of intelligence. Then I'll break through and become a spirit god. Roar. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared and appeared. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a pile of origin stones appeared in the air. This pile of origin stones had more than 1,000,000 pieces. Supreme Nine-Yang had given him about 500,000 origin stones. In addition to the origin stones he had obtained from killing some enemies during this period of time, there were more than 1,000,000 origin stones. The 9 dragons opened their mouths and swallowed the 1,000,000 origin stones. Dong! 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 In his dantian, the spirit embryo was beating rapidly, as if a living being was being born. At this moment, the spirit embryo burst forth with a powerful suction force, attracting Lu Ming's soul into the spirit embryo. Boom! The next moment, the spirit embryo collapsed, and a figure appeared in his dantian. This figure was clearly a miniature version of Lu Ming. It was exactly the same as Lu Ming, except that it was very small and very mini, only the size of a fist. This was a spirit god, formed by gathering the essence, chi, and spirit of a martial artist. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His figure moved, and he soared into the sky. The rocks above the cave exploded like tofu. At this moment, the entire Drum Mountain and the entire Zhou clan began to shake violently. Swoosh! Then a bloody light rushed out from the ground and floated in the sky. In the bloody light, Lu Ming stood in the air. His body was covered in bloody light, and his killing intent surged. Kill! 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 The third bloodline roared constantly, and killing intent surged into Lu Ming's mind. How did you escape? Not far away, there was an incredulous shout. It was Patriarch Zhou. At this moment, figures flew over from all over the Zhou family. They were all alarmed. Swoosh! Swoosh! Figures appeared one after another. The patriarch of the Zhou family, the elder of the Zhou family, Zhou Exen. How is this possible? How did you escape? The patriarch of the Zhou family shouted in disbelief. His eyes were about to pop out. Haha, I knew it. You can't trap this kid. Dandan laughed from one of Patriarch Zhou's hands. Kill. So what if you escape? This time I'll kill you completely. Patriarch Zhou shouted and stepped forward to attack Lu Ming. But in the next moment his hair stood on end, and a terrifying sense of danger arose in his heart. He subconsciously looked up at the sky, and his pupils suddenly constricted. He roared, Heavenly tribulation. It's the heavenly tribulation. You're going to transcend the tribulation. At this moment, wind and clouds gathered in the sky. Endless dark clouds seemed to have appeared out of thin air and covered the sky. Endless lightning swam in the dark clouds, emitting a terrifying might. At this moment, Lu Ming hadn't completely stepped into the domain enlightened God realm, and he still had to transcend the domain enlightened God tribulation. Only after transcending the domain enlightened God tribulation could he be considered to have truly stepped into the domain enlightened God realm. If he couldn't transcend it, he would be reduced to ashes. Oh no, retreat, retreat quickly. Patriarch Zhou roared. If they were implicated during the tribulation, then they would have to transcend the tribulation as well. Moreover, the might of the heavenly tribulation would change according to the cultivator's cultivation. If they weren't prepared and were implicated, then they would be courting death. Patriarch Zhou retreated hastily. He wanted to retreat far away and kill Lu Ming after he transcended the tribulation. He was confident that even if Lu Ming stepped into the first level of the spirit god realm, he was confident in his ability to kill Lu Ming. The gap between every single level of the spirit god realm was extremely huge. He didn't believe that Lu Ming could surmount 3 levels to fight him while at the spirit god realm. Old dog, where do you think you're going? Lu Ming stared at Patriarch Zhou, and then he took a step forward and executed the 9 dragons' heaven-trampling steps. At this moment, Lu Ming's 9 dragons' heaven-trampling steps was a few times faster than it was a year ago. It seemed that Lu Ming's 9 dragons' heaven-trampling steps had broken through during this year. His figure was like a bolt of lightning that approached Patriarch Zhou at extreme speed. Rumble. At this moment, the dark clouds in the sky roiled as a bolt of lightning that was as thick as a water jar struck down towards Lu Ming. 5 types of concepts converged to form a 5-colored battle armor that covered Lu Ming's entire body. Lu Ming didn't even spare a glance at the lightning as he continued to pursue Patriarch Zhou. Bang! The lightning drowned Lu Ming, but Lu Ming charged through it and was completely fine. Bang! 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 Chapter 1051. 3 bolts of lightning, each as thick as a water jar, streaked across the sky as though they were tearing it into several pieces. Unparalleled heavenly might spread. Many Zhou family disciples below trembled as though a great calamity was about to befall them. However, in the face of such terrifying lightning, Lu Ming still ignored it and charged at Forefather Zhou. Get lost! Get lost! Forefather Zhou was horrified. He rushed forward with all his might and roared. He was terrified and aggrieved. However, he did not dare to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming was undergoing a tribulation. If he attacked Lu Ming, he would be directly implicated in the lightning tribulation. He looked forward to Lu Ming being killed by the lightning tribulation. Boom! 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 The 3 bolts of lightning struck Lu Ming, but Lu Ming was completely fine. He did not even slow down as he rapidly approached Forefather Zhou. Evildoer, evildoer. Forefather Zhou was even more terrified. Lu Ming was simply a freak. He did not resist the lightning tribulation at all. It was unbelievable. The heavenly tribulation was a sharp blade hanging over every martial artist's head. Countless martial artists were turned to ashes by the heavenly tribulation. Before he broke through to spiritual God, he had prepared for hundreds of years. When the lightning tribulation finally descended, he was also surrounded by danger and narrowly escaped death. How could it be so easy? Haha, little thief, are you afraid now? Wait for your death. Dandan laughed arrogantly. You'll be the first to die. Enter the lightning tribulation. Forefather Zhou steeled his heart and threw Dandan into the lightning tribulation. Rumble. The moment Dandan entered the lightning tribulation, the tribulation clouds in the sky became even more terrifying. Lightning rumbled and covered the sky, causing the world to shake. Chila! Immediately, a bolt of lightning struck Dandan. Dandan stretched out its limbs and head. It opened its mouth and swallowed the lightning. Then it stretched and shouted, Ahaha, I'm finally out. After being a coward for a year, haha, it feels good. This fellow's body emitted lightning, but his eyes shone with excitement. The eyes of Forefather Zhou, the Zhou family, and the others almost popped out. Perverts, evildoers, all of them are perverts. Let's go, let's go. Forefather Zhou had lost all sense of propriety and only knew to flee for his life. However, Lu Ming was too fast. He turned into a stream of light and approached Forefather Zhou in a few moments. Dark clouds roiled in the sky and enveloped Forefather Zhou. No. Forefather Zhou roared angrily, but it was useless. Thunder roared, and a bolt of lightning shot towards Forefather Zhou. This bolt of lightning was even more terrifying than the one that had shot toward Hongming. Forefather Zhou fought back with all his might and defeated this bolt of lightning. Rumble. At this time, 9 lightning bolts shot towards Lu Ming, but were easily blocked by Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming had 5 types of intent realm added to his body. He was incomparably powerful, and the lightning tribulation could not touch him at all. Jie! Suddenly, another cry sounded in the sky. A large bird swooped down from the dark clouds towards Lu Ming. This large bird was formed completely from lightning. The bird formed from lightning was like a real being, lightning taking form. In the legends, this was a lightning tribulation that only peerless evildoers would encounter. No, a lightning-shaped tribulation. No, how can this be? Forefather Zhou roared in despair. No, no. The Zhou family patriarch also roared. Lu Ming was undergoing a lightning-shaped tribulation. Forefather Zhou was enveloped by the heavenly tribulation. He would definitely face a lightning-shaped tribulation. If it was an ordinary lightning tribulation, he had some hope. However, he had no hope at all for a lightning-shaped tribulation. He was desperate and furious. but immediately 3 more bolts of lightning struck down. Forefather Zhou could only do his best to block them. After the 3 bolts of lightning passed, Forefather Zhou's hair was disheveled and he vomited blood. However, 9 more bolts of lightning descended from the sky and struck at Forefather Zhou. Forefather Zhou was terrified and immediately used bloodline fusion. Forefather Zhou's divine bloodline was a raging flame vine. It was a level 4 divine bloodline. The raging flame vine was hundreds of meters long and filled with flames as it struck at the 9 bolts of lightning. Boom! 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 After the 9 bolts of lightning, the raging flame vine's leaves withered. It was charred black and its aura withered. It was almost struck to death. On the other side, Dandin was extremely relaxed. No matter what lightning struck, he swallowed it with a look of enjoyment. On the other hand, Lu Ming was equally relaxed. He threw a punch and the thunder eagle dissipated. Go quickly, leave this place. Forefather Zhou knew that he had no hope. He roared, hoping that the Zhou family patriarch and the others would escape. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and stepped towards Forefather Zhou. If I die, you will not have an easy time. Forefather Zhou roared crazily. The raging flame vine twisted wildly and whipped towards Lu Ming. Since he was already under the lightning tribulation, he planned to die together with Lu Ming. Kill, kill, kill! Lu Ming's blood-red hair fluttered in the wind. His killing intent surged like a tide. His eyes turned blood-red and looked extremely evil. The 3rd bloodline on his head, a drop of blood, actually wriggled and turned into a battle sword. Lu Ming gripped the battle sword. At this moment, endless killing intent surged into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's killing intent grew even stronger. Swoosh! The blood-red battle sword tore through the air and tore open space, revealing a black and unfathomable crack. Poof! The battle sword could break through anything. It slashed through Forefather Zhou's attack and cut the raging flame vine in half. Forefather Zhou let out a shrill scream. The raging flame vine disappeared. Forefather Zhou's body reappeared and he vomited blood. Kill! Killing intent surged like a tide. The battle sword slashed and there was only a blood-red sword light in the sky. Pucci! Forefather Zhou didn't even have the chance to scream before he was killed by the sword. No. In the distance, the Zhou clan's patriarch roared loudly when he saw this scene. Forefather Zhou was the backbone of the Zhou clan. Now that he was killed, even if Lu Ming died now, the Zhou clan strength would be reduced greatly and would be nibbled away by other powers. Roar! The 9 dragons' bloodline roared loudly and devoured all of Forefather Zhou's blood essence, true essence, and energy. After that, he took a step forward and chased after an old man from the Zhou clan. At this moment, Lu Ming swept the surroundings with his gaze and noticed that the Zhou clan still had 3 domain enlightened spirit gods. The Zhou clan had a total of 5 domain enlightened spirit gods. One of them had been killed by Lu Ming a year ago. Now that Forefather Zhou was dead, there were 3 more. The Zhou clan's patriarch and 2 other elders. Those 2 elders were both at the 1st level of the domain enlightened spirit god realm. 1st level spirit god. His speed was much slower than Lu Ming's. In a few moments, Lu Ming caught up to this group of elders, and then he slashed down with his blood-red sword. This elder let out a shrill cry, and the tribulation lightning didn't even strike him before he was killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure turned around and charged towards the other elder. No, spare me. That elder begged madly for mercy, but a blood-red sword light greeted him. Blood-red light shot out, and that elder was killed as well. The Zhou clan's patriarch's face was covered in despair. The Zhou clan was finished. He knew that the Zhou clan was completely finished. At this moment, the only thought in his mind was to flee for his life, flee madly. However, Lu Ming's speed was too swift, and he was utterly unable to flee. He hadn't even flown 5,000 kilometers away when Lu Ming caught up to him. Bang! 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 Numerous bolts of lightning struck down towards the Zhou clan's patriarch. He resisted with all his might, but he was heavily injured after 2 rounds of tribulation lightning. Chapter 1052. Then he grabbed the patriarch of the Zhou family with one hand and blasted out with the other, dispersing a lightning tiger condensed from lightning. At this moment, more creatures condensed from lightning pounced at Lu Ming, but they were all defeated by Lu Ming. With a step, Lu Ming returned to the sky above the Zhou family. At this moment, the other members of the Zhou family were still looking at the sky in shock, not knowing what had happened. They didn't understand why someone would transcend the tribulation in the sky above the Zhou family, nor did they understand why the spirit gods had scattered and fled. All of this happened too quickly. Only a few minutes had passed since Lu Ming rushed out of the underground cave and began to transcend the tribulation. "No, please let them go, they are innocent." The patriarch of the Zhou family was grabbed by Lu Ming. Even if lightning struck at him, it was still defeated by Lu Ming. At this moment, his heart was filled with despair and extreme regret. He regretted that he was greedy for Lu Ming's treasures, but he didn't expect Lu Ming to be so monstrous that he could still break through and attract the tribulation after being suppressed in the burning god's earthly flames. This was really unbelievable. However, regret was useless. He only hoped that Lu Ming would let the Zhou family go. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's killing intent was unimaginably dense. He only wanted to destroy and kill all the members of the Zhou family to take revenge for the suffering he had suffered in the past year. Kill! There was only indifference in Lu Ming's eyes. In his mind, there were continuous roars. Kill! Lu Ming stepped out and shouted. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared, and a terrifying devouring power erupted and enveloped all the members of the Zhou family. Ah, no! Help! Screams rose and fell. The essence, qi, and spirit of the Zhou family members were devoured and turned into dried corpses. All the essence, true essence, and energy were devoured by the 9 dragons' bloodline and refined into true essence that surged into the spirit gods. No, no, no. The patriarch of the Zhou family was in a daze as he looked at all of this. Almost all the members of the Zhou family were dead. There were corpses all over Yingu Mountain. No, there was one more person. Her eyes were glazed over as she lay limp on a mountain peak. It was Zhou Xian. Although Lu Ming was affected by the 3rd bloodline and his murderous intent surged like a tide, he still retained a shred of rationality and deliberately left Zhou Xian behind. He took a step forward and appeared not far away from Zhou Xian. Rumble. At this moment, there were still countless lightning beams pouncing towards Lu Ming, but they were unable to do anything to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's battle power was simply too powerful. He had cultivated 5 different concepts of heaven and earth, as well as the eruption of dragon power. Most terrifyingly, the trace of power that had entered his 3rd bloodline not only caused Lu Ming's killing intent to surge, but his battle power had also become even more terrifying, allowing him to easily block the lightning tribulation. Do you regret it? Lu Ming said coldly. His blood-red eyes stared at Zhou Xian. Zhou Xian looked at the family head of the Zhou family in a daze. She then looked at Lu Ming and said, "That's right. All of this is our fault. Retribution. This is retribution. We brought this upon ourselves. Xian heir, it's all my fault. Lu Shaoqing, I beg you to spare Xian heir. It's all my fault." The Zhou family head screamed. "All of you deserve to die." Lu Ming's eyes were cold and unmoved. With a wave of his hand, he threw the Zhou family head out. A bolt of lightning struck, and the Zhou family head turned into ashes. "Father," Zhou Xian called out. "Zhou Xian, you gave me the purple jade back then. There was a vitality stone in the purple jade that was of great use to me. However, after that, I saved your life twice, which is more than enough to offset the fact that you gave me the vitality stone. After that, you guys attacked me and suppressed me. Today, I will kill all of you. All of this is what you deserve. Kill yourself. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He had no intention of letting Zhou Exan go. Haha. Good. Then let me follow my father. Zhou Exan smiled bitterly. Her body suddenly moved and rushed toward Lu Ming. Whoosh! The lightning fell and struck Zhou Exan's body. She turned into ashes amidst the lightning. At this point, almost all of the Zhou family were dead. Rumble. The thunder tribulation continued and became stronger. Lu Ming punched continuously and blasted several thunder-shaped creatures. At the same time, the Nine Dragons bloodline was constantly refining the blood essence and genuine qi of the Zhou family and turning it into his own genuine qi. Lu Ming's spiritual spirit was getting more and more full and solid. At the same time, Lu Ming poured the energy of the blood essence into the third bloodline. However, he found that the third bloodline did not absorb the energy of the blood essence at all. It's not absorbing? What's going on? Lu Ming originally thought that the third bloodline did not have a chakra. Like the Nine Dragons bloodline, it needed the energy of the blood essence to upgrade. Now, it seemed that it was not the same thing. The third bloodline seemed to be the same. It did not have a chakra. Since the third bloodline could not absorb the energy, Lu Ming transferred the energy of the blood essence to the second bloodline and let the prison-suppressing steel absorb the energy. Not enough. The energy is still not enough. Lu Ming took out the storage ring of the Zhou family's patriarch. With a sweep of his mind, a large pile of origin stones appeared. There were more than 1,000,000 of them. The Nine Dragons devoured them and continued to refine them. Boom! Boom! As time passed, the thunder tribulation became stronger and stronger. However, it was still blocked by Lu Ming. After a full 15 minutes, the dark clouds in the sky disappeared along with the thunder and lightning. Lu Ming finally passed the thunder tribulation and became a spiritual god. The thunder tribulation that was difficult for others was not difficult for Lu Ming. After the thunder tribulation, endless spiritual qi in the world gathered toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's aura was rising rapidly. Let's leave this place first. Lu Ming's figure flashed, and he vanished like a graceful swan. A few hours later, a few million kilometers away, Lu Ming sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. At this moment, his aura had stabilized, and he'd officially stepped into the first level of the spiritual god realm. At this moment, all the bloodlines had been absorbed into Lu Ming's body. His hair had turned black once more, and when he opened his eyes, they had become calm, pure, and devoid of any killing intent. Phew, the third bloodline is so formidable. Lu Ming let out a long sigh of relief. That boundless killing intent was too shocking. Earlier, Lu Ming had almost been controlled by it. It's because I have a strong killing intent towards the Zhou family. Otherwise, I should be able to barely control this force. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Earlier, he already had a strong killing intent towards the Zhou family. Coupled with the fact that he possessed the third bloodline, he'd almost been crushed by his killing intent, and it caused him to practically annihilate the Zhou family. With Lu Ming's original character, he wouldn't have done this. At most, he would annihilate the higher-ups of the Zhou family, and he would let many members of the Zhou family with low cultivations go. However, under the influence of the killing intent that surged like a tide, he only wanted to kill. Only by killing all members of the Zhou family would he be able to vent the hatred in his heart. However, it had already occurred, so Lu Ming didn't regret it. Since the Zhou family had treated him like that and suppressed him for a year, then they had to bear the consequences. What exactly is this third bloodline? A drop of blood? But there's such a vast amount of power inside. Earlier, Lu Ming had only borrowed a trace of that energy, yet his strength had increased greatly. However, his will had almost been crushed by the killing intent. This caused Lu Ming to be shocked in his heart. He had to be careful when using the third bloodline in the future. Chapter 1053. I've gained a lot this time. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. In the divine earth flame, Lu Ming entered an ethereal state. Just like that, a year passed. During this year, he had been comprehending the intent realm and various martial skills. In that state, comprehending various intent realm and martial skills was much faster than usual. Coupled with Lu Ming's current comprehension ability, his progress was naturally terrifying. Unknowingly, his 5 intents had already broken through to the 4th level. So, when his 3rd bloodline awakened and he broke through the ceiling tower that suppressed him, his 5 intents began to improve rapidly and broke through to the 4th level. At the same time, he began to break through to the spiritual God realm. Now, Lu Ming could clearly sense that his 5 intents had all reached the peak of the 4th level of the beginner realm. He was only a step away from the 4th level of the initial realm. Moreover, he had also cultivated the 7th step of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Its power was equivalent to the highest level of the inferior divine martial skills. In the next moment, with a thought, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline appeared. There were 6 golden chakras on it. After refining the blood essence of the Zhou clan, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline had also improved to the 6th level of the divine realm. My physical body has also broken through to the 9th level under the tempering of the divine earth flame. Lu Ming smiled. I have to be more careful in the future. I can't easily expose a treasure like the mountain and river diagram to people I don't trust. This incident taught Lu Ming a lesson. One shouldn't expose one's wealth, not to mention a treasure like the mountain and river diagram. It was easy for others to be greedy. This time, if the Zhou clan hadn't wanted to force him to hand over the mountain and river diagram and suppressed him, he would have been dead long ago if they had directly attacked and killed him. If he hadn't just awakened his 3rd bloodline, which was so amazing that it didn't need to erupt with true essence and had terrifying strength, he wouldn't have been able to escape. This time was a fluke, but Lu Ming didn't want to have a next time. Haha, awesome. On the other side, Dandan laughed loudly as lightning flickered all over his body. This guy had absorbed a large amount of lightning tribulation energy and was still digesting it. What a monster. Not even the bloodline of the 9 dragons could devour the power of the tribulation lightning. Lu Ming, I really didn't misjudge you. Dandan flew over and laughed. I didn't expect you to be able to last for a year. Lu Ming said, Don't you know who I am? My defense is invincible. That guy tried to refine me for a year, but in the end he couldn't even hurt a single hair on my body. Dandan said proudly, You have hair. Lu Ming said in disdain, Bah, I'm just giving you an example. But your bloodline is really shocking. Even I feel flustered when I look at it. Dandan sized up Lu Ming. Can you identify what bloodline it is? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked, I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know your 2nd bloodline. You're a monster. You actually have 2 bloodlines that I don't know. But your 2nd bloodline looks a little familiar. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Dandan muttered, but in the end he couldn't remember anything. That's as good as not saying anything. Lu Ming said in disdain. Then he got up and left. It's been a year. I wonder what level the cultivation of those geniuses have reached. Lu Ming looked forward to it and left quickly. Next, Lu Ming went to the barbaric mountains to look for powerful beasts to fight. His main purpose was to test the power of his 3rd bloodline. As expected, every time Lu Ming activated his 3rd bloodline, endless killing intent would surge in. Moreover, Lu Ming could sense the boundless sea of blood from that drop of blood and could also borrow the power of the sea of blood. However, with Lu Ming's current cultivation, he could only borrow a little bit of it. Moreover, every time he borrowed the power of his 3rd bloodline, he was filled with killing intent as if he wanted to kill all living things in the world. That kind of killing intent was too shocking. It seemed to be filled with endless resentment. Why is there such a strong killing intent, such a strong resentment? It's said that all bloodlines can be traced. They can be found in the bodies of ancient, primordial, and immemorial creatures, divine weapons, and spirits of heaven and earth. What kind of creature is this drop of blood? Lu Ming was filled with doubts, and his imagination ran wild. As he moved forward, he cultivated and explored. Slowly, Lu Ming became more and more familiar with the use of his third bloodline. He could already keep his mind calm and not be affected by the killing intent when it surged in. Eastern Wilderness, Nine Dragons City. In a hall, Di Shun and Dongfang Yu stood respectfully in front of Martial Emperor Di. On both sides of the hall stood the patriarchs of the 6 ancient families. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Di Shin has successfully broken through to the spiritual god realm. If you see Lu Ming again, you'll definitely be able to kill him easily. The patriarch of the Wang family congratulated with a smile. Yeah, with Di Shin's talent after entering the spiritual god realm, he'll definitely be able to exert a terrifying power of space. It'll be easy for him to kill Lu Ming. The patriarch of the Jiang family also took the opportunity to flatter. Yeah. Martial Emperor Di nodded and said, Shen is indeed good. He's invincible in the Eastern Wilderness. But don't underestimate the heroes of the world. The Central Continent has always been a place where geniuses come out in large numbers. In this era, there are many geniuses who are not weaker than Shin. The 5 young giants are even more powerful. Don't be complacent. Shen understands. Di Shin bowed and said, Yeah, I've received news that the Jade Wall of the Central Continent World Academy will be open to the public. Heroes from all over the world can go and watch it. You two should go to the Central Continent together. You can also see the heroes of the world and train yourselves. Martial Emperor Di said. Di Shen and Dongfang Yu's eyes shone brightly, revealing a look of anticipation. The Central Continent had always been known as the center of the divine wilderness. How prosperous and powerful were its geniuses. They were looking forward to it. The same scene happened in the Heavenly Corpse Sect and the Heavenly Monster Valley. In a huge ancient tomb in the Heavenly Corpse Sect, Shuet, Jinny, and Shizhan stood respectfully in front of the Corpse Emperor. Now that the Jade Wall of the Central Continent World Academy will be open to the public, you two should go to the Central Continent together to try your luck. According to my speculation, the geniuses of the Northern Plains, Western Desert, and Southern Underworld will also go to the Central Continent. The Central Continent will become a gathering place for geniuses. You two should go and train yourselves, the Corpse Emperor said. Yes. Shui, Jinny, and Shizhan bowed and said. In the Heavenly Monster Valley, Ao, Tu, and Fengxian also stepped onto the teleportation formation to the Central Continent under the Corpse Emperor's orders. Roar, roar, roar. In a desolate mountain range, a black panther with 3 heads roared and pounced toward Lu Ming. A ferocious aura filled the forest. The 3 heads let out 3 roars, scattering the clouds in the sky and causing the mountain range to rumble. Its 3 heads spat out fire, lightning, and ice respectively. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 1054. A drop of blood floated up into appearance above Lu Ming's head, and it was his 3rd bloodline. After that, a trace of a bloody glow surged into Lu Ming's body from his 3rd bloodline. In an instant, a bloody glow suffused Lu Ming's body, while his jet black hair turned blood red. Moreover, his eyes were like dazzling red rubies that emanated boundless killing intent. His 3rd bloodline wriggled and transformed into a battle sword that was held in Lu Ming's hand. Swish! The battle sword slashed down, causing space to directly split open, while a blood-red sword light that carried jet black tore through the sky and slashed towards the 3 Black Panthers. Pooh! The sword light slashed down, causing the attacks of the 3 Black Panthers to be directly dispersed, and then the sword light continued forward and slashed the 3 Black Panthers into 2. The 3 Black Panthers that were equivalent to the 2nd level of the Domain Enlightened Spirit God Realm had been killed by a single strike from Lu Ming. After breaking through to the Domain Enlightened Spirit God Realm, Lu Ming's combat strength had improved greatly. Earlier, he'd merely utilized the strength of his 3rd bloodline. He hadn't utilized dragon energy, concept, and so on and so forth. Of course, it was naturally impossible for Lu Ming to surmount 5 or 6 levels to kill enemies at the domain enlightened spirit god realm, like he could at the spirit embryo realm, because that wasn't realistic. Existences that were able to surmount the domain enlightened spirit god realm were geniuses amongst geniuses, and they were existences that could surmount a few levels to kill enemies at the spirit embryo realm. When facing such geniuses, Lu Ming was naturally unable to surmount 5 or 6 levels to kill enemies because that would be too exaggerated. Moreover, the gap between every single level in the domain enlightened spirit god realm was extremely huge. Lu Ming wasn't too sure that he could surmount a few levels to kill enemies at the domain enlightened spirit god realm if he erupted with his full strength. When I utilized the strength of my third bloodline, it actually contained strong slaughter concept. With a command in his heart, his third bloodline entered Lu Ming's body, and then Lu Ming's hair turned black once more while the bloody glow vanished along with his killing intent. He'd returned to normal, but he was slightly shocked in his heart. Slaughter concept was an extremely terrifying concept that was filled with the energy of slaughter and was extremely terrifying. This concept was one of the most terrifying concepts in the heavens and the earth, and it wasn't inferior to the concept of time and space. This was not a concept that Lu Ming had comprehended himself, but he could borrow it when he used his third bloodline. Although it was not comprehended by Lu Ming himself, it could be used as Lu Ming's killing move. Lu Ming was very satisfied. The blood of the 9 dragons appeared and sucked in the essence blood and demonic energy of the 3 Black Panthers. Then he left the place. Tens of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming sat cross-legged, refining the blood essence of the 3 Black Panthers. 1. The hell-suppressing steel's bloodline emerged and vibrated continuously. The 6 golden chakras shone brightly, and soon the 7th golden chakra emerged. The hell-suppressing steel bloodline had also risen to the 7th level of the divine grade. Along the way, Lu Ming had killed many ferocious beasts and refined their blood essences. Now he had accumulated enough to upgrade the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline to level 7 divine grade, on par with the 9 dragons' bloodline. However, Lu Ming's cultivation didn't increase by much. He had only reached the mid-first level of the spirit god realm. After refining the energy of the 3 Black Panthers, the Yuan receiving stone appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming continuously poured his true Yuan into the Yuan receiving stone. When Lu Ming's true Yuan was almost exhausted, the Yuan receiving stone was also full. Sure enough, it's similar to my previous speculation. This Yuan receiving stone can only store my true Yuan at the first level of the spirit god realm. If my cultivation continues to increase, this Yuan receiving stone won't be of much use. After putting away the Yuan receiving stone, Lu Ming took out an origin stone and devoured it to recover. When Lu Ming's true Yuan was fully recovered, he waved his hand and a pile of storage rings appeared in the air. Most of these storage rings came from the Zhou clan and some of the experts he had killed before. Lu Ming hadn't organized them properly before. Now it was a good time to do so. Lu Ming was already familiar with organizing the storage rings. First, he categorized the items and separated out the valuable items, the rare items that Lu Ming didn't recognize. After spending an entire day, Lu Ming finally finished organizing everything. There's only around 1 million origin stones left. Lu Ming sighed. The Zhou clan's patriarch, ancestor, and a few elders were all existences at the spirit god realm. When added together, there were a few million origin stones. However, Lu Ming had used more than half of them to break through to the spirit god realm. Now, only around 1 million remained. If Lu Ming used 1 million origin stones to improve his cultivation now, it probably wouldn't be enough to advance to the 2nd level of the spirit god realm. There were also some other miscellaneous things that wouldn't be worth much origin stones, even if they were sold. What's in this chest? It's protected so tightly? Lu Ming noticed a chest in the Zhou clan's patriarch's storage ring. He didn't know what material it was made of, but it was extremely hard and covered in inscription formations. The Zhou clan's patriarch hid it so well that it aroused Lu Ming's interest. Lu Ming observed it carefully. Even though this inscription formation was of a high level, Lu Ming still quickly noticed its flaws and weaknesses. "Dandan, break it open!" Lu Ming didn't have a spirit flame now, so he could only ask Dandan to do it. "It's simple, leave it to me." Dandan scurried over and observed it for a moment before it waved its claws repeatedly, causing numerous inscriptions to enter the chest. The inscriptions on the chest glowed, and after a short while, the inscription formation on the chest trembled and collapsed. "Give me a share of the treasures!" Dandan shouted loudly while its eyes glowed as it hurriedly opened the chest. After it opened the chest, Dandan's face sank and revealed a disappointed expression, because the things in the chest were very simple. There were only two things, a small jade chest and a book. They weren't the natural treasures Dandan had imagined at all. Without the natural treasures, Dandan instantly lost interest, and it walked to the side with a bored expression to nibble on spirit herbs. Lu Ming was slightly interested, and he picked up the book and started reading it. After a short while, Lu Ming revealed a trace of pleasant surprise. This book recorded a kind of secret skill, the illusory breathing skill. According to the book, cultivating the illusory breathing skill allowed one to change one's aura into another aura at will. This was completely different from the method of concealing one's aura. Concealing one's aura was just concealing one's aura so that others couldn't easily detect it. However, the illusory breathing skill allowed one to transform one's aura into another aura. This was simply escaping for one's life. The ultimate secret skill of disguise could sometimes save one's life. As long as one changed their aura and appearance, no one would be able to recognize them at all. In the world of martial arts, it was easy to change one's appearance, but not one's aura. Everyone's aura was unique, so this kind of secret skill was very precious. No wonder the Zhou family had kept it so well. If I cultivate the illusory breathing skill, even if I meet an old acquaintance, I don't have to be afraid of being recognized. Lu Ming revealed a trace of a smile and couldn't help but look at the jade chest. Put together with the illusory breathing skill, what was in the jade chest? Lu Ming opened the jade chest with some anticipation. Inside the jade chest was a jade tablet. Lu Ming took a look at it and knew that it was a recording jade tablet. He picked it up and scanned it with his mind. At first, Lu Ming was stunned, and then his face revealed an expression of disbelief. There's actually such a heaven-defying elixir in this world. Lu Ming was tongue-tied, and he was shocked beyond words. This jade tablet contained a kind of elixir formula, a method to refine a heaven-defying elixir. Chapter 1055. Consuming the nirvana elixir would allow a martial artist's bloodline to have a chance of nirvana. After nirvana, one's bloodline would have a chance to upgrade. However, the upgrade wasn't fixed. It depended on one's potential and luck. Some people could upgrade by 1 level, some by 2 or even more. Heavens! This elixir was too heaven-defying. It was very difficult to upgrade a bloodline after birth. The 9 Dragons' bloodline was unique in the world. Moreover, Xian Yinqing's bloodline was special. With the help of Emperor Liansong, his bloodline had undergone nirvana and evolved. Along the way, Lu Ming had only seen Xian Yinqing's bloodline undergo nirvana and upgrade once. He had not seen or heard of any other cases. This nirvana elixir was so heaven-defying. If this news were to spread, it would probably cause chaos and stir up endless storms. Just think about it. If a martial artist with a 9th level king bloodline took the nirvana elixir, even if it was only 1 level, it was very likely that he would be promoted to a divine bloodline and be qualified to break through to the spiritual god realm. If some martial artists with divine bloodlines could upgrade their bloodline by 1 or 2 levels, their talent would undoubtedly be higher and they would be able to go further in the future. This was especially true for top geniuses who had awakened to the 6th, 7th, or even 8th level of the divine bloodline. If they took the nirvana elixir, they might even be able to upgrade to the 9th level of the divine bloodline. How tempting and heaven-defying was this? It would be strange if people did not go crazy when they found out. However, according to the records, every martial artist only had one chance. After taking the Nirvana elixir once, taking it a second time would have no effect and would develop resistance. However, this would still not reduce the Nirvana elixir's supreme value. Back then, Cold Blood Hall made a big move and said that a treasure had been taken away. Zhou Xian just happened to appear there. Could it be? At this moment, Lu Ming thought of many things. He had met Zhou Xian in the ancient herb garden, but she obviously did not want to act with Lu Ming and wanted to act alone. Later, Cold Blood Hall seemed to be looking for a treasure in the ancient herb garden, but it was taken away. This caused Cold Blood Hall to make a big move, seal the teleportation formation, and even besiege them on the plains to force them to hand over their storage rings. There, Lu Ming met Zhou Xian and rescued her. Logically speaking, Zhou Xian's cultivation was not high. In such a situation, it was very likely that she would hand over her storage ring to save her life. However, Zhou Xian did not. She did not have the slightest intention of handing over her storage ring. At that time, Lu Ming didn't think much about it, but now that he saw the Nirvana Pills pill formula, Lu Ming couldn't help but connect all these together. Perhaps Zhou Xian had obtained the formula from the ancient herb garden, and the reason why Cold Blood Hall had mobilized so many people was most likely because they were looking for the formula. Unexpectedly, in the end, it still fell into the hands of Lu Ming. Although this pill formula was not very useful to Lu Ming, because Lu Ming had the 9 Dragons bloodline, he did not need the Nirvana pill to improve his bloodline. However, Lu Ming was still very excited. Although it wasn't of much use to him, he had family and friends. This kind of pill formula would be very useful to his family and friends. However, the elixirs needed to refine the Nirvana pill are too rare. Lu Ming sighed again. Although the Nirvana pill was heaven-defying, the materials and elixirs needed were extremely precious and rare. A total of dozens of elixirs and materials were needed. Most of the supplementary materials were of the highest grade at LV8, and 7 of the main materials were of LV9. Moreover, they were of the highest grade at LV9. This made Lu Ming speechless. It was extremely difficult to collect these materials. Forget it, I'm not in a hurry. Take it slow. Lu Ming smiled. He memorized the Nirvana Pills formula and then put it into the mountain river diagram. Then he opened the book of illusory breath and began to read. Next, Lu Ming practiced the illusory breath as he moved forward. Time passed day by day. It had been a month since Lu Ming left the Zhou family. On this day, Lu Ming came to a huge city. This city was extremely grand, full of vicissitudes and magnificent and domineering. On the city gate, there were 3 big words. Tianxia City. I'm actually in Tianxia City. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. Tianxia City was next to the World Academy. It was one of the top 10 ancient cities in the Middle Continent and had a long history. The World Academy was northwest of the Heavenly Eagle Castle. Lu Ming had unknowingly passed through the Heavenly Eagle Castle's territory and arrived at the World Academy. Since he was here, Lu Ming naturally had to take a look. After walking into Tianxia City, he realized that it was extremely prosperous. People came and went, and it was very lively. Why are there so many young prodigies? Lu Ming was a little surprised. He could see young prodigies walking by from time to time on the streets. They were in groups of 3 to 5, and each of them had a dignified appearance. They had the potential of dragons and phoenixes. They were definitely extremely powerful elites. Lu Ming sensed that many of them had awakened divine bloodlines. Although the Middle Continent was full of outstanding people and had many more prodigies than the Eastern Wilderness, it was still unrealistic to meet groups of divine prodigies in a big city. Could it be that something big has happened in Tianxia City or the World Academy for so many prodigies to gather? Lu Ming guessed. That's... Lu Ming suddenly froze as he saw 2 familiar faces, Xue Jinni and Shi Zhan. The heavenly corpse sects Xue Jinni and Shi Zhan had actually appeared in Tianxia City in the middle continent. This shocked Lu Ming. Interesting. The strongest prodigies of the heavenly corpse sect are here. Then did Di Xin and the others come as well? Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Shui, Jinny, and Shi Zhan didn't notice Lu Ming. Instead, they walked into a shop. Lu Ming came to a secret place, and his body started to change. After a while, Lu Ming turned into a dark-skinned, honest-looking youth. Then he used the illusion art and his aura changed. Now, even those who were familiar with Lu Ming wouldn't be able to recognize him if they stood in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and strode down the street. Shui, Jinny, and Shi Zhan walked out of the shop and passed by Lu Ming, but they didn't react at all. They treated Lu Ming as a stranger. Lu Ming smiled with satisfaction and walked into a restaurant. Have you heard? A month ago, the sanguinarum of the Cold Blood Hall broke through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. What? The sanguinarum broke through as well? The sanguinarum isn't very strong among the second-grade prodigies. I didn't expect him to break through as well. It looks like most of the second-grade prodigies have broken through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. The 5 young titans broke through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm a year ago. Now, the second-grade prodigies have broken through as well. From now on, the world will belong to the younger generation. The younger generation will welcome the era of the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. So many young prodigies have actually broken through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm in the same era. How unbelievable! Not long after he entered the restaurant, Lu Ming heard a wave of discussion. Lu Ming nodded to himself. Over a year had passed since the ancient herb garden, so it was normal for the second-grade prodigies to break through to the domain Enlightened Spirit God realm. Chapter 1056. This is a great era, not only in the central continent, but also in the northern valley, the western desert, and the southern underworld. Some time ago, a genius from the northern valley came to the central continent and challenged one of the top 5 young warriors, Yang Patian. That battle was a great battle, but in the end it was a draw. I heard about that battle too. It's amazing. I didn't expect the northern plains to have a genius like the top 5 young warriors, not only in the northern plains, but also in the western desert. A young holy monk entered the central continent and displayed his powerful combat strength. Also, a terrifying son of underworld from the southern underworld entered the central continent. According to reliable sources, the western desert and southern underworld both have geniuses who are not weaker than the top 5 young warriors. Hearing this, Lu Ming raised his eyebrows and was shocked. He didn't expect the top 5 young warriors to appear in the southern underworld, northern plains, and western desert. The future was bound to be more exciting. What about the eastern wilderness? Are there any powerful geniuses in the eastern wilderness? Not in the eastern wilderness. The eastern wilderness has the word wilderness because it's a barren land. Since ancient times, it has been the weakest of the 5 domains. What geniuses can there be? Indeed, I heard that there are only 2 geniuses in the eastern wilderness who are not bad. One is Lu Ming, and the other is Di Xin. These 2 should be second-class geniuses. The others are just clowns who aren't worth mentioning. That's true. I also heard that there was a great battle in the eastern wilderness. Lu Ming is trapped and probably dead. Only Di Xin is left. Haha, it's just a barren land. What's there to talk about? Let's drink. There was a burst of laughter. When they talked about the eastern wilderness, their words were full of contempt. Humph, a bunch of rich kids. How dare you talk about being a hero? At this moment, a cold snort was heard in the restaurant. Everyone looked at a corner of the restaurant. There were 2 figures, a man and a woman. The man was burly and muscular. He was more than 2 meters tall and had bulging muscles. The woman's figure was graceful and beautiful, and her face was unparalleled. She was devastatingly beautiful. AO2, Feng Xian. Lu Ming was stunned. He recognized the 2 of them. They were the 2 most powerful geniuses of the eastern wilderness, sky, Demon Valley. Oh, does that mean you're a hero? The three youths who had been discussing earlier were all dressed in white swordsman robes. It was obvious that they were from the same faction. At this moment, one of the young men with a sword on his back sneered at A.O. Tuesday. It's hard to say whether I'm a hero or not, but suppressing you is as easy as flipping my palm. AO2 sneered. He was very confident. In the Eastern Baron territory, he was second only to Lu Ming and the Arch God. He was one of the top talents, and no one could defeat him. Even if he came to the Central Continent, he was still confident that he would not be weaker than others. Suppressing me with a flip of your palm? Ha ha ha, I've never seen you before. Are you from the Eastern Wilderness? The young man with a sword on his back asked. That's right, AO2 of the Eastern Wasteland. AO2 said, So, you're a piece of trash from the Eastern Wasteland. You're just a worm. How dare you say that you can suppress me? You really don't know your place. The young man with a sword on his back shouted coldly. What did you say? AO2 stood up angrily. Cold, murderous intent shot out from his eyes, and a violent aura burst out. The restaurant was enveloped by a terrifying pressure. The young man with a sword on his back dared to call him a worm. That made him want to kill him. The young man with a sword on his back sneered. He pointed his finger like a sword and sliced AO2's aura apart. Let's go out and fight. I'll let you know if you're a piece of trash or not. The young man with a sword on his back stepped out and flew into the sky. AO2 stepped out as well. Ha! That worm from the Eastern Wilderness dares to fight with Senior Brother Song. He doesn't know what's good for him. Let's go out and have a look. The other two young men with swords on their backs laughed and followed AO2 out. Then, Feng Xian followed them out. That's a genius from the Tianwu sword faction. That person, just now, seems to be Song Fei, the third-ranked genius from the Tianwu sword faction. That flood dragon from the Eastern Wilderness wants to fight with Song Fei. Interesting. Let's go and have a look. Let's go. Inside the restaurant, everyone flew out and stood in the air to watch the battle. Lu Ming followed the crowd and flew out of the restaurant, hovering in the air. In the sky, AO2 and Song Fei faced each other. Their powerful auras attracted many people. That's a flood dragon from the Eastern Wilderness. Do you think he has a chance of winning? Impossible. Song Fei is the third-ranked genius from the Tianwu sword faction. He's extremely powerful. That flood dragon is no match for him. Many people were talking about it. There were 18 overlords in the Central Continent. Of course, there were also differences in strength among the overlords. The Tianwu sword faction was one of the top overlords in the Central Continent. It was stronger than Floating Mountain Sect, Cold Blood Hall, and Sky Eagle Castle. It had many experts and geniuses. As the third-ranked genius of the Tianwu sword faction, it was needless to say how powerful it was. Boom! Boom! Their auras roared in the sky, causing a terrifying whirlwind. Kill! AO2 was the first to attack. He transformed into his true form, a flood dragon that was a few hundred meters long. Its body was golden, as if it was made of gold. Golden Storm Cut! AO2 roared. He opened his mouth, and 9 rays of dark golden light shot out from his mouth. They cut through the air and slashed toward Song Fei. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out as a ray of sword light shot out like a bolt of lightning. It tore through the void and sliced through everything. Wherever the sword light passed, AO2's 9 rays of golden light were all cut through. However, the sword chi also dissipated. Gilded Dragon Claw. AO2's Flood Dragon Claw turned into a pure golden color. It was crystal clear and radiated a terrifying energy wave. The claw tore through the air. It was extremely terrifying. AO2 had reached the perfected spirit embryo level. When he attacked with his full strength, he was comparable to a spiritual god. However, Song Fei's cultivation was also at the perfected spirit embryo level. You have some skills. Take this. Song Fei shouted. his bloodline emerged. It was a silver-white battle sword with 7 golden chakras shining. Sword breaking the world. Song Fei transformed into a battle sword. The silver-white battle sword shone brightly as it slashed toward AO Tuesday. The battle sword and AO2's gilded dragon claw clashed. The sky was filled with golden and silver light. It was so dazzling that many people could not open their eyes. When the light dissipated, AO2 frantically retreated. There was a deep sword wound on his dragon claw. The scales on his claw were shattered and blood was flowing out. Whoosh! The silver battle sword slashed down again. Endless sword chi scattered. It was extremely terrifying. Deep scars appeared in the air. AO2 roared angrily and fought with all his might. However, Song Fei's sword chi was extremely sharp. It could cut through everything. It broke through AO2's attack and defense, leaving sword wounds on his body. AO2 was completely at a disadvantage. Soon, there were more than a dozen sword wounds on his body. Each of them was several meters long. Blood flowed out and even spilled on the ground. This blood contains the bloodline of a true dragon. Take it. Someone unkindly took all the blood that AO2 left behind. This made AO2 roar in anger. However, he was no match for Song Fei even though he tried his best. Your flood dragon is not bad. I happen to be lacking a mount. You will be my mount from now on. Chapter 1057. Don't even think about it. AO2 roared angrily, feeling extremely aggrieved. AO2 had more than 70% of the true dragon bloodline. He had been the top talent of Sky Monster Valley since he was young. He was said to be able to compete with the Darch God. There were very few people among the younger generation in Eastern Wilderness who could compete with him. Although he was defeated by Lu Ming in the Battle of Providence, only Lu Ming and the Darch God were stronger than him in the entire Eastern Wilderness. The only other people who could compete with him were Shui, Jenny, and Feng Xian. He was still a peerless talent with a bright halo. However, when he came to Middle Continent, he was suppressed by a random young talent and wanted to capture him as a mount. At this moment, his confidence was severely damaged. Swoosh! Swoosh! Beams of peerlessly sharp silver sword light sliced through the sky toward AO Tuesday. Even though AO2 had the true dragon bloodline, he was completely suppressed and torn apart by the terrifying sword chi. Surrender and be my mount, and I won't kill you. Otherwise, you'll die today. Song Fei's cold voice came from the silver battle sword. Don't even think about it. AO2 shouted. Given his pride, he would rather die than be Song Fei's mount. Then die. The silver battle sword shone brightly, and the sword chi pierced through the air toward AO2's head. AO2 frantically retreated and blocked with all his might, but his head was almost chopped off. There was a deep wound on his neck. His body shrunk rapidly and escaped into the distance. Don't even think about leaving. Song Fei clearly had no intention of letting AO2 go. He chased after AO Tuesday. At this moment, a phoenix cry resounded. A divine bird that looked like a phoenix flew toward Song Fei. With a flap of its wings, a sky full of flames spread toward Song Fei. Song Fei was shocked. His sword chi whistled and cut through the flames. However, this delay allowed AO2 to rush into the distance and disappear without a trace. The divine bird that looked like a phoenix was extremely fast. It flapped its wings and turned into a beam of light, rushing into the distance. Song Fei shouted angrily and chased after it. However, after a while, he failed to catch up. Lu Ming could clearly see that the phoenix-like divine bird was Feng Xian. She possessed the phoenix bloodline and was shockingly fast. Song Fei returned to his human form and snorted coldly. What Donghuang prodigy! You're just trash! After saying that, he flew back into the tavern with the other 2 disciples of the Celestial Martial Sword Sect and continued eating and drinking. In the crowd, Shui Jianyi and Shi Zhan were also watching the battle. Their faces turned ugly, but they didn't dare to make a sound. Song Fei's battle prowess was shocking, and Xue Jian knew that he was not Song Fei's opponent. I didn't expect there to be so many geniuses in the Middle Continent. I heard that Song Fei is only the third-ranked genius of one of the factions, the Sky Martial Sword faction. Shi Zhan sighed. The battle just now had left him shaken. The Central Continent is indeed the center of the divine wilderness continent. Geniuses are everywhere. In the Eastern Wilderness, only Lu Ming and the Emperor can defeat Song Fei. Blood, sword nodded, and the two of them left. Lu Ming didn't think much of it. He wasn't surprised by the outcome. AO2 and Song Fei were third-grade prodigies, but AO2 was only average among third-grade prodigies, while Song Fei was at the top among third-grade prodigies. He was close to the second-grade prodigies, so AO2 naturally wasn't his match. Lu Ming also returned to the tavern and continued eating and drinking. Soon he learned some new news. The reason so many prodigies had gathered in Tianxia City was that the World Academy's Jade Annulus would be opened in 3 days. The World Academy's Jade Annulus was said to contain endless mysteries. Martial artists who comprehended it would obtain great opportunities and benefits. It was even rumored that the All Things Jade Annulus contained a great secret and a divine treasury. However, it hadn't been opened for many years. The World Academy's Jade Annulus had always been closed to the public, but this time it suddenly announced that it was open to the public. All the heroes of the world were free to visit and comprehend it. Once the news was out, it naturally attracted a large number of sky prides. The Jade Annulus. Since I'm here, I can't miss it. Lu Ming continued eating and drinking. The news he heard next wasn't too important. It was all about which prodigies were more powerful, which beauties were prettier, and so on. After eating and drinking, Lu Ming walked out of the tavern and found an inn to stay in. 3 days passed quickly. Lu Ming left Tianxia City and rushed to the World Academy. He wasn't the only one. Many prodigies stepped into the air and flew over. At a glance, the sky was filled with streaks of rainbow light, like a meteor shower. The World Academy was very close to Tianxia City. Soon they arrived. Lu Ming was a little surprised when he saw it from afar. A snow-white palace floated in the air, emitting dazzling rays of light. The palace was extremely huge, like a city in the sky. It seemed to be completely made of jade. This was the core of the World Academy. Below the palace, there was a divine mountain covered in clouds. The spiritual qi was dense, and spiritual herbs were everywhere. Spiritual beasts were flying around. It was like a fairyland. The endless divine mountain below and the white jade palace in the sky were the complete World Academy. However, only the core of the World Academy could enter the white jade palace. Lu Ming and the rest naturally couldn't enter. They landed outside the World Academy and walked along an ancient bluestone path. Soon they saw a huge stone tablet. There were 4 words written on the tablet: World Academy. The words were bold and powerful. At first glance, there was a terrifying aura that spread out. According to legend, these 4 words were left behind by a sacred emperor of the ancient Saint dynasty. They contained the sacred emperor's will. Tens of thousands of years ago, when the ancient Saint dynasty hadn't declined and ruled the 8-Baron region, the World Academy was a place for the ancient Saint dynasty to cultivate talents. Countless experts had walked out of the World Academy. However, after the ancient Saint dynasty's Xie family declined, the World Academy became independent and became an overlord force. After passing by the stone tablet, there was a white jade staircase. The group climbed up the white jade staircase and arrived at a huge square. At this time, the square was filled with people. At a glance, there were probably tens of thousands of people. They were all geniuses. Everyone, the universal Jade Annulus, is in front. Please follow me. A white-haired elder appeared and smiled. Then he flew forward and the group followed. After flying past dozens of mountains, the terrain in front of them leveled out. There were no mountains, only hills. On the hills, there were clouds and mist blocking the view. The group couldn't see through it. Hooray! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. According to legend, the World Academy was a force that cultivated both martial arts and inscriptions. There were experts who specialized in martial arts and also those who cultivated inscriptions. There were also rumors that the World Academy had more than one sacred emperor. There were two of them. One was a martial arts sacred emperor, and the other was an inscriptions sacred emperor. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Figures flashed, and a total of 8 elders appeared. Including the one who led the way, there were 9 of them. The 9 elders floated in the air and started to inscribe inscriptions. The inscriptions disappeared into the surrounding space. Hoo-hoo,